Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast. Are you ready to greet Ed, Rich, Crow, and Pete as they talk Evercade? Good times will never fade. Put away the switchblade, sheath the sword of Vienna. Stop the blaster master, there's no enemy below as we dip into euphoria. Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Evercade podcast. We got Rich and we got Pete and we got Godzilla. All right.
Yeah, rip them right out of the machine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Hey.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Well, God, feels like it's been forever. I know I was out last week at an undisclosed location. So how's everybody doing?
Oh, doing great. It's been a busy week.
Yeah, I know
Tell you that.
It's like every day when there's news.
There was? I remember one day there was news.
Well, there's
Maybe two.
There's been changes from like the pricing and the carts, and actually that's why I found out about like some of that stuff through Rich's video. Actually,
I was just watching it. I finally got to that point to watch it, and I got to stop watching it so I could get on here.
Yeah,
Well,
I purposely didn't watch
that's
people's
lots of awesome stuff on there.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys did the same thing, so we can kind of find out live what we all think. Well, let's do this. Why don't I say hi to the chat, and then we can decide. We can just dive into if you want to talk about carts, the features, whatever. But who do we have here? We got some members. We got Lloyd. We got Lloyd R. Jim. I almost said his name wrong again.
What's up, Lloyd?
Fan of Fiction.
There, finally.
What's going on?
Immortal. Yep. Pew pew. Den Ruff. Morley. Interesting thoughts on that game. We'll come back to that. Ballistic Coffee Boy. Hey, the infamous Ian Hobbies. Hey, Crimson Cross. Awesome to see you again here.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, Crimson?
We got Coffee of the Crypt. Thunder Force. I thought it said Darren Champion. Darren Chapman. Matthew Madison. All right. So what do you all feel like diving into first? I know there's been like
I believe the first piece of news had to do with the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first piece of news that actually came before the showcase was the fact that pre-orders were going to start opening up again for the U.S. Mm-hmm. And the reason this kind of stuck with me is because I was kind of curious. It's like, they said that the tariffs would have to be paid at your end after it arrives.
Yeah, and duty. It's a duty, right?
That's correct.
The thing is, I've never had to deal with that. So where do you pay this money? You have to go to the post
So
office?
basically, what happens when you get your package, you'll get an email from whoever's shipping it, like UPS or DHL, and they'll say, "Hey, on collection, we're going to collect X dollar from you. That's your duty." Which is
what does that mean on collection? Can you just pay that online?
You can pay it in advance, and they'll deliver it to you.
Yeah. Okay, because
you'll get a notification.
Like, hey, give me $3, or I can't give you the package.
Usually,
so I don't
go up to your door with the machine, also like a remote machine if you've not paid it. But yeah, you'll get an email from your carrier. Yeah,
but that's only if you buy it from Funstock, right? Because if you get it from the U.S., it's already in the U.S.
In the U.S., yes, there is none because they've already.
Yes.
So if
where are you buying it in the U.S. though?
But if you buy it from Songbird, you're buying it for the $10 extra. Probably.
Songbird in the U.S.?
Yes.
I thought they were in Canada for some reason with Video Games Plus.
No.
Okay.
But the beauty of all of this is our prices are unchanged. So actually, technically,
you don't need to worry about that. You're the exception
on
Amazon.
They're like $29 on Amazon Canadian, which is great. Even though Neo Geo Arcade 1 is it's already sold out. But they're all available.
Actually, a lot of people. Actually, I had a lot of people on Reddit in Canada actually saying they're wanting to get out of Evercade because there is no other reseller for Canada. So you have to.
Amazon does it all.
Yeah.
Amazon Canada
Some
got them all
post-
there, and they're like cheap.
That's funny
So,
because
Yep.
I did check Amazon US, and I don't think any of that new stuff is on here. On
I
there.
ordered my Kern off from Amazon. I canceled my order from Funstock for my Neo Geo and ordered it from Amazon because it's so much cheaper for me. It's only $80. So
And none of the new stuff is on Video Games Plus, although they still haven't canceled my pre-order for the other stuff that I ordered.
yeah,
I think Video Games Plus is done. I was going to say there was a recent Reddit post where somebody emailed them.
yeah. No, they're not getting back into it unless something changes.
If they're not going to give me my stuff, they should let me know and give me my money back.
I don't know. You should send them an email. They might still.
I
honor
should.
those.
I just haven't. I thought of it. I just never, had the time to do
Yeah,
that.
I'm waiting for the Neo Geo to come back in stock on Amazon. Well, Amazon up here in Canada is getting better because Polymega's available up there on it now.
Ah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'll wait for
So
I'll
the-
wait for cheaper. So here's what's interesting with like the whole cost with like Evercade. Like for me, it's like I don't know if many people realize this, but if you ordered from Video Games Plus, like the cost of Evercade is like doubled. And the reason I say that because I kid you not, you could get 2 carts for like free shipping for like what was it, like $37 like way back
Double?
before.
Oh, you mean it's cheaper?
Yes, yeah, it was cheaper for 2 carts, and then it slowly went to
Because
20.
you said it was doubled. I'm like, oh no, that doesn't work out.
No, I mean, it's like basically like now one cart is like $30, is like $30. And I remember you could get like 2 carts shipped for free for like an extra $5 to $7.
Well, speaking of $30, if you noticed on the showcase, every cart was $30 US.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's there's like differences though. That's why there's the asterisk on the $29.99.
There's the
US.
Giga
Well, I assume that because that doesn't include the tariff price, meaning you'd have to pay more.
Well,
yeah,
actually-
they won't charge
actually-
you the tariff.
Actually, it doesn't. So the asterisk meant that if you order from Funstock, then SRP is actually not $29.99. It's the same as it's always been.
Yeah.
So if you order from Funstock, you just pay the difference in price for the pound conversion, the pound
But-
to US dollar conversion,
It
And
didn't
then
have
you
that
pay
the
asterisk.
pound
Asterisk.
price.
when it's delivered.
And then,
that-
but then
set on
on,
the-
but wait, on Funstock only, when they ship, that's when you have to do the post office thing and the tariff and the little doodad. The $29.99 RP is for like any U.S. retailer, the Amazons, the Castlemania, like anyone else that's getting in on the U.S. They're going to sell at $29.99 RP, but you won't have to do any of the tariff stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
only
that
if
makes
you get it
sense.
from the UK.
But what's funny is if you watch a showcase and it says it has the asterisk, and you look at the little blurb, it just says this is the standard retail pricing, and that's it. That's all it says.
Of course
Yeah,
they do.
yeah. So they,
It is.
I
It's
mean,
like they confused it all. They shouldn't even mess with tariffs. They just said, look, if you order from Funstock and you're American, when you get delivered, you're going to get your delivery company's going to tell you got to pay tariffs on it or duty.
Right.
That's called duty.
so and then
They
here's-
just should not have confused it all by them with their. They should have just said,
I'll
hey,
tell you what police should have done. They just should have said, "Don't buy it." They wouldn't. They just said they should have told what U.S. sellers.
exactly. They should have just not got themselves involved with this whole tariff stuff. They should have just said, hey, when we get U.S. resellers, we'll let you know. Otherwise, if you order from Funstock, you have to pay a tariff when it gets delivered, and it's not from them; it's from your government.
right. Well, and
yeah.
the weirdest thing is because it's a day that ends in Y over here. Right now, everything's up in the air anyway. So there's a very good chance that the June
Yeah.
shipment to us won't have any of that because it's all in courts.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah, what's
It's just
gonna-
absolutely nuts.
It could
So
change
I'm-
daily. So. Yeah.
Right. And because it's interesting, not only is it just a fascinating, crazy nonsense story just in general, it's also affecting directly, consumers in the US that have ordered from Funstock. I'm following this story. So they give me all sorts of crazy updates. And then up to and including like the day that I get my shipping notification, like if I get the envelope, like I'll report on that. If I have to go to the post office, I'll report on that. But I'm hoping that it's just going to be my cards will just show up in the box and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
So-
and sometimes they forget to charge you duty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because if it slips
That is
through,
If it slips through, it slips
yeah,
through. So, like I've had stuff come
yeah.
from Funstock without duty before. So
Yeah,
because
and
they
then,
can't check everything. And
right.
it's going to be
and
honest
then
100%
for
of
the
time.
U.S. customer, that fee is going to be like $3 or something like that.
Yeah, well, if you're
So
buying
it's going to
two
be
carts,
like a
it'd be
better
like
off
$6.
dead situation. You're going to have like
trust
some
me, you'll
kid
get
on
a
a
fee,
bike
though.
chasing you down. I want my $2. You know, like,
Your shipper will give
I know
you
exactly.
will charge a fee also. Trust
That'd
me.
be
yeah.
Never had to deal
I
with
need
it.
to-
In
I need to
Canada,
get
we
that
have to deal
clip.
with it. You'll get a charge fee from your shipper too.
Yeah.
The kind of service fee.
Uh-huh.
Don't trust me. DHL is the worst.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure that specifically from Funstock, and also probably specifically for the East Coast, they partner with USPS, so it's just going to be USPS.
Yeah, you guys.
So whatever they do is whatever they're going to do. So, but yeah, it's
I wouldn't plan for any of the tariffs to go away. I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I'm not
Well,
planning.
no,
on
I mean,
anything.
I'm not saying that they're going to go away. I'm just saying that for
Until
at
you're-
least for another
until
3
you
months,
figure
they're going
out
to
your
be tied up in
taco.
the courts.
It
So no
it
one's
just
gonna know what
depends
to
on
do.
how he's feeling. He's like, okay, maybe we'll
Yeah.
get rid of the tariffs for this
Or-
thing,
or
or
they
maybe
call
like,
them
okay, we're going to increase it to 1,000% now.
Taco.
Right. So interesting.
Somebody
Well,
will
so
breathe the
actually,
wrong way. He'd be like 1,000% tariffs now.
Yeah.
I prefer.
I'm out of Diet Coke. I'm bombing you all.
I was going to say actually, I prefer supporting a small business, right?
Is Funstock a small business? I'm not sure.
No. Like Songbird or like with video games.
Oh yeah,
Plus.
I 100% agree. But
I'll
yeah.
support any business that'll get me what I want.
It's pretty
Yeah.
risky now, right, for any small company to take any kind of leaps of faith on,
Well,
on
and
stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right.
They don't want to be stuck with a bottle backstock, right? Like nobody's
Yeah.
gonna buy.
Well, and you guys know that I'm the unabashed, like, every order I'm gonna get is gonna be from Funstock, which was the reason I was so upset they were gonna we're not gonna ship, because like I want all my tchotchkes. Give me all my tchotchkes. You know, like that's what I want.
You know what? It's funny about that because it's like I like Evercade, but honestly, I feel like they should be sending us all that stuff for free. We promote it anyway. You know,
I mean, come on, it costs money to make stuff.
I don't feel entitled enough to feel like
I don't
need
feel
to do
entitled, but I'm
anything
just
for
saying I shouldn't have to pay for swag.
I got enough stuff. I don't
Channel.
need anything.
My whole channel is a freaking like advertisement. So no, I just don't want to give them. I just don't want to give them more money. I'd rather give it to the small businesses. Like some of the things we're going to talk about are cool, but good Lord, it's taken them too long to kind of get. And just keep in the back of your mind when we talk about the showcase, like, are all the games cool? Was it underwhelming for a fifth year? And all that.
Don't tell me how to feel.
Just
Yeah, we can
some-
jump
I'll feel exactly the opposite way you feel.
Exactly. 100%.
But what I think everyone would have liked to see is like, hey, we have a deal with Best Buy, or we have a deal with Walmart, or we have a deal with GameStop.
Not really. I don't want to go outside to get shit.
right.
I don't.
I wouldn't have
I
minded
hate
being
Best Buy.
able to
I'm going to go
store.
to Best Buy to try to sell me a TV. I don't like going to
I just like having to go to the post office and pay the nonsense fee. Like that's like for me that'd be a huge inconvenience. I'm like, no, I don't. I work 8 to 5 every day. Then
I
I'd
don't
have
think
to
the
move my
post
wife
office is going to send you it because it's going to be a big shipper. But anyway,
to- Yeah. But okay, what do you all like game wise? Do you want to dive into Neo Geo? Do you want to dive into Taito? Do you want to?
Well, why
Talk about-
don't I thought we like I don't know if you have the whole showcase up or anything, but I thought you would just go through what they announced in order. But then again, I prefer to do things chronologically. So
we could just say what
you're
our
running the
general-
show. Do it however you want.
Why don't we just say our general
I have
feeling?
the features. We can talk about.
Yeah.
About that. They did
We could
everything. in it.
do one quick little roundtable on everybody's just general thoughts on it, maybe, and then dive into the details.
Okay.
Because we all did reaction videos. I did a live one.
Yeah.
I was on live.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And I was kind of surprised I was able to do that during work.
Me too.
I was like,
I was like, yeah, why not? I had a bunch of people from Blaze in my stream, which was really nice. So
honestly, I'll just start. For me, the thing that stands out, I don't know why it wasn't like the whole thing that kind of stands out is that we got another Evercade Alpha, but it wasn't a Neo Geo one. That kind of stands out because I was like, oh, everybody was expecting a Neo Geo one, but we got this Taito one, which technically I like the design of it because it's not game specific. But the only other problem with that is like all the games that are built into it are going to also be on cartridges, which they announced later.
I loved,
which I like, yes. Yeah,
when I saw that, so like my overall reaction of it, I thought it was pretty good. I think it was better than their earlier showcase. And I think they
When
held
you
right.
when you mean last year or the one last month?
The one that happened like 2 months ago. I think. It
Yeah,
was
I
much better
don't
than that.
even really count that as a showcase for some reason.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed this one. I like the fact they didn't spend the whole time talking about their last 5 years. They let YouTubers speak to it, which I thought was really cool.
I don't know. That was to me. I was like, just get to the good stuff. I know.
I know,
all
but it
these
could have
channels
been
that-
much longer, right?
Yeah,
It could have been
yeah.
much longer.
But it
kinda
seems
liked
like
how they did
that-
like the Atari 50 timeline kind of thing. That was slick. I liked it.
Well, it's funny. It's like every showcase they start, you have to wait to get to this good stuff because always you got to explain what happened over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
You know,
or
so-
what the product is. Yeah.
Yes,
So-
yeah. Or, oh, just in case you happen to stumble upon this. This is what an Evercade is.
Yeah.
Never. So I did a little bit different. I didn't. So believe it or not, I didn't actually watch the full showcase. I just watched the individual videos at that point because I don't know. I didn't. I didn't want to make like a 20-minute video, and I didn't want to go through all the prehistory, like you said, like all the nonsense. Like I don't care
But you
about
were
that.
craving
But the whole
content.
thing was only 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
wasn't that
I
bad.
watched. I also have to mute it because there's always a copyright claim, and then you have to go, which is like. So I didn't. I did that back home.
Let me tell you this. I
Yeah.
literally had the whole thing in there in my video, and I did not get a copyright claim.
That's good. That's good. But I watched the individual trailers. Overall, do I think there's awesome collections? Yes. Do I think this is extremely underwhelming for a 5th year anniversary? Yes. There was nothing, and again I keep going back to the Duke 1 and 2 carts. There was nothing like that made me fall out of my seat. Like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's
World.
everything that was good. There was nothing really bad, but there was nothing knock me out of my shoes or nothing like that. So.
I wasn't
Exactly.
expecting anything major. Like I can't think I said that. I said I wasn't expecting anything earth shattering because there's really nothing earth shattering they could do.
Honestly,
Well,
the most earth-shattering thing in the whole thing was that the fact that we're getting Taito cartridges now. So
Yeah.
we had the Super, we had it on hardware, and now we're getting on cartridges. That's so.
When you think of the retro world, like what would be earth shattering? Like I mean, Duke Nukem came out of nowhere. I mean, Doom.
Well, that's the
maybe?
thing. It's like in order for it to be earth-shattering, it would have to have been something I would have never thought of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I don't think it's anything left. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, if you want to do individual stuff, I think. Oh, Rich never said what he thought because I never watched your video, Rich, because I saw you on a podcast.
Yeah. I got to hang out with the Total
Rich is
Evercade.
the star of our show. We got invited to the big podcast.
The Total Evercade podcast, guys.
I was on there before.
Oh, actually, I was.
Yeah.
They did invite me on, but I was like, "There's no way you do it while I'm at work."
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
that
it just
sounds
you
cool.
caught me right at the end of my shift, so I was like, all right, we can do this. But
Let me know ahead of time. Maybe I'll take the day off.
yeah, exactly. No, it was awesome to hang out with those guys. Yeah, I mean, I thought the showcase was 100% better than the previous showcase for this year. I wasn't it so whereas the cartridge announcements might not have been as impactful because like for Neo Geo, there's a 2-year deal. They already said it like multiple times. So you're going to get more Neo Geo. We got more Neo Geo. I was super happy to see some of the titles that we're going to be talking about as we go through the lists and all that. And the Taito thing was actually a little bit of a curveball. Like, okay, it's a big name. You figure, that the carts are going to come, which I was hoping for as soon as we saw the Super Pocket last year. But the thing that hit me was like, wow, they did an alpha, like a Taito alpha. I was like, okay, that's all right. I mean, it makes sense, in the grand scheme of things. There's a lot of great arcade titles from that company, but that threw me a little bit because I mean, I was living in Fantasyland. I thought for sure we are going to get that MVS red, and I was like, all right, I was ready just to throw down that money.
Here's the funny thing is they were showing it, and it still wasn't registering in my mind that it was a new alpha until I was staring at like Bubble Bobble at the marquee for a while. I was like, wait a minute, this is a new alpha, but it's not Neo
same thing
Geo.
happened to me, Crow. I'm staring at it live with everybody else, and they're all reacting, and I'm like, it's just an alpha. What are you talking about? Like, what is this? They're just overviewing the alpha, and I just oh
Yeah, when I saw the alpha, I'm like, oh no, these games are gonna be locked at alpha. But when they showed the other 2 collections for
that was cool.
I'm like, that was awesome. No
Just-
need to buy an alpha.
and then
So just imagine
the collections are going to be like overarching too. Like the two collections have everything that is on the Super Pocket and the Alpha, and more.
Would have been almost earth-shattering. Imagine if we didn't get the Taito Super Pocket, then the Taito collections would have been really exciting. But
yeah,
no, actually, to me, it's the opposite. If we didn't get the Super Pocket and they announced the cartridges, it would have been less surprising to me.
Yeah, I guess so. Because then it would have been like, oh, hey, they got another one. They got another publisher.
Yeah, because to me, I'm thinking, oh, they put it on the Super Pocket because they can't get the rights to put it on a cartridge.
Mm.
But if they just come right out and bring out the cartridges, I was like, oh, that's cool. But the fact is, because the fact that they had it on the Super Pocket and now we have it in cartridges makes me think that, oh, maybe we can get Capcom games in cartridges in the future.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's almost more exciting than the Taito cartridges themselves.
Don't get me wrong. I like as much as I really like Taito, but I'm really surprised still with all these Taito games. We don't get Zookeeper yet. Where's Zookeeper? Where's Zookeeper?
True.
Yeah.
The Darius collections. Hello. Why don't we get any of those games?
Yeah, Darius. But Taito's been around for a long time. At least they're putting Space Invaders on there.
Yeah, that game.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I do think it was a big mistake. They should have released the SNK and the S, and I think if they did and it went up for sale, it would have been sold out by now. Because
like an alpha of the
yes,
SNK?
yes, yeah.
I think a lot of people would buy it. I think a lot of people would buy that.
And I'm really surprised they didn't, because I think there's only two people that are going to get the Taito collection. One, somebody that just has to collect everything as disposable income, or the second person that was considering getting an alpha and now they have a new choice.
Who's that?
No,
do we know anybody?
I would actually consider it. Oh, what was that, Pete? Sorry,
Do you know anybody left that collects everything they put out? Like we all don't.
Yeah, outside of the Alpha. I mean, outside of the Alpha, I'm still one of those.
Ed only collects
here's the thing.
cartridges.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would consider getting the Taito one because I like the design of it better. But like I said, because it's not game specific. My problem with this Mega Man one here is, I could change the marquee, but I'm still staring at Mega Man characters on the bezel.
So, for me, if I got a free version of it, I would take it and then I'd sell my Mega Man. But I like Mega Man because of Strider, but I got the bezel for Strider and I don't have the machine that says Strider. So I think the Taito is the best looking Alpha by far.
Exactly.
The games I have the most nostalgia for are on there because it's I played all those games in the arcade, but I'm not buying one.
But like I said, the problem is then I'd get all these Taito games on it, which I would already get with the cartridges. Whereas if I just kept the Mega Man one I'd have those 6 games that aren't on cartridges.
Taito is going to probably be their best selling cab, I think.
Did you notice? I took me a while to notice one until I was going back and looking through the video, but the design of the cabinet is different. The marquee smaller, and the sides are curved differently. So
I wonder. Yeah, it's a different design of the cab. I wonder if they make the where you rest your hands a little bit bigger. I find that still kind of.
I think that part might be exactly the same.
Yeah. Okay. I wish they would have made that space a bit bigger so I could.
Because I was thinking
it always cuts off here when I play it. So.
Because part of me was thinking, I want to keep the Mega Man one, but I want the look of the Taito one. I was like, I wonder if they could just sell me the vinyl sheets to just plaster over.
Or you should print those out yourself on stickers.
I could. I could.
This is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but when they showed in the video and they showed the alphas next to the other arcade or background, that kind of actually reminded me how much more they look like toys too much. I don't know. It's not a device for me at all.
They're saying in the chat they also has a ball top instead of a bat, but that is not a big deal because that's something that's simple to change out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this one's. I think with the increased cost and everything, I don't think this one's going to sell as well. I could be totally wrong. But.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would sell more. I think it's I don't know. It depends who the market is for Evercade now. I don't know if it's old people like us or younger people.
Did you notice? Notice there's no deluxe version either. There's only the base version.
Right, and it said as much. There's not going to be one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's no deluxe.
Which is fine.
Just the regular version.
Yeah, they were smart.
I still argue most people can't tell difference who buys it anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I'd still change out the buttons and the joysticks.
I know you would, but you're not their target demographic.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a calculated move, right? Of imagining. It's a big endeavor to put and manufacture a new piece of hardware with all those built-in games they wouldn't do it if they didn't feel that there was some kind of demand. So
yeah, exactly. Neo Geo, I think Neo Geo Alpha will be announced in their fall showcase, if they have a fall showcase. I think probably. They
Yeah.
got 3 more carts to announce. Maybe they're
Mhm.
not going to do a showcase. Maybe they just do one-off announcements.
just one-off
I think-
announcements
I
as
think
you
those-
can do your pre-ordering. Yeah.
I don't know.
I bet one
okay.
of those 3 carts is
Gene-
going to be a Spectrum collection that they're going to try and slip under the radar so
Gene-
we don't complain
Right,
about it so
right.
much.
Yeah, Gene's got a point there, though. The Alpha did seem to get some interest in Japan.
Yeah.
And,
Japan's an
and
important market, right?
well, and the introduction of the Japanese language support in the OS is a
Yes.
very key thing.
Yep, they're
But
really
here's
big.
the thing, though.
They
It
chase
maybe
it.
might have got interest if people looked at it, but they're not going to buy that in Japan because they're not going to have room. Like they're going to buy things like the Super Pockets or the handhelds like that. Because there's a lot of people are here like in various other places say that they don't have room for it. Like I don't know where I would put it in my house, and you know what I mean. So they more limited space over there.
Trust me, if there's something you really want, you'll find room for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I would
Maybe.
get like not all Japan lives in Tokyo either, right? A lot of Japan's rural, like in suburbs and stuff, they have houses and
True.
stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
Like, everything we get on YouTube is Tokyo or Osaka, which is micro apartments in 20 million people cities, right? Like,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
and it's a massive country.
Yeah,
kid-
I mean,
Twice.
you never could see. I mean, that's
My
a
freaking toy is broken and it's pissing me off. I
I
can't
don't
transform them.
I don't know. I think definitely like the Super Pocket.
Pro,
Like, I
what's
think
this, Pro?
What's that? Is that like a star screen with an alternate?
You failed me, brother. You don't know what this is. You
And
failed
another-
me.
is that a GoBot?
Oh, that's my boy. This is my leader one.
Yeah.
Oh, I say I
Broke,
avoided
I broke
GoBot.
the- I broke the tail fin.
I think I had like 2 GoBots, but I had like tons of
one.
Transformers.
I had all the GoBots
Yeah.
because my mom would go get those on clearance. I never got any.
Yeah, because
Transformer.
our parents couldn't afford Transformers. So
No, I got Transformers.
I have Transformers. I just moved my collection over there. I only have
we'll see.
Optimus.
We'll see though with alphas. I do think now though, especially with I thought they were expensive before, and I think they're even more expensive now. I
yeah,
think the Super
250,
Pockets are too
but yeah.
expensive. for-
I don't
for-
recommend like that. I love Evercade and Blaze, but I would not recommend Alpha to anyone. Like to be honest with you, I was talking about it in my live stream.
I
I'm
do know,
recommending the VS to everyone because the EXP, as you know, I've been wearing glasses a lot lately. The screen's a little bit much for me now, so like get the VS.
Well, I would recommend the VS just because you have more options, right? Like maybe because they've added more mouse support. Maybe we'll get a trackball. You can plug in different.
You know,
controllers.
you still have those options on the Alpha. It does have USB ports, so you can still
Yeah.
use a mouse on the Alpha.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh yeah. No. If he was talking like the handheld, you can't do any of that.
Oh, I love my handheld though. But handheld's for that super fan who likes taking it with them when you go on vacation, like me.
Okay.
But, let's,
You
yeah.
fucking
So, no,
transform.
all good stuff. But I think for me the biggest mistake that they did. I wish they would have made it a path easier for you as customers. Made it crystal clear. Luckily, Rich's video kind of like explained some of that. But
Yeah.
they made
Watch
it confusing.
Yeah.
Confusing.
And it's going to get better, so that's good.
Oh, you know what? Is another disappointment? We didn't get a fifth
You think it's gonna
anniversary
get
thing, guys. Why didn't we get a fifth
Gotta be-
anniversary?
Got to
thing?
be the optimist.
That's another thing I just realized. We didn't get a fifth anniversary. I mean, we got like the startup screens, but no theme.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's new carts. We'll go. Let me. Yeah. We'll go to the feet. Well, I'll skip over that. We'll go to the features. So, all right. So yeah, we get the classic.
Yep.
The
I
classic.
changed mine immediately. That's the greatest boot up song ever. Even though Crow disagrees. Greatest boot up song ever.
Fine, but I prefer the newer one.
I
think
You're just a contemporary man.
I think this is awesome,
like,
but
yeah.
I think this feature took them way too long to implement. Right? Like it shouldn't have taken this long. At least we have.
This is a feature I don't think is that big of a deal. It's a nice option, but it's not
Yeah.
something
it's
that's
a throwback. Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
stuff works, it's all ROI, right? It wasn't a priority for them. They had more important.
yeah,
things to do.
exactly.
Mhm.
I think it's a priority for Blaze, though.
I don't think anybody's sitting there being like, "Oh, they brought back the original. I'm going to go buy
Yeah,
that
no, they
EXP now."
wanted dip switches. They wanted mouse support. Like,
And I'll
that
be-
takes a long time, man. It takes a long time.
And I'll be perfectly honest. Like it took them this long. Like it doesn't matter as much. That's all I'm saying. Like if they were going to do it, it should have been early. Like it's kind of cool, but again, it's not like a fall out of your chair.
You know how this ended up in there? I guarantee it. They won't say it, but one of their programmers decided one day, they said, you know what, I wanted this in there. It wasn't in the plans. He just did it in the goodness of his heart or her heart and just put it in. That's how software development works.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know, this thing will only take me a minute to implement. Want me to put
Nobody
it in
asked
there?
for it. I'm going to do it because I wanted it. And that's how it happens. That's how those little things happen. Like no project manager in their right mind would prioritize that over dip switches or stuff like that. They would never do that.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's something that's very easy to implement in the code. They already have the video.
Nothing's easy to implement in code, man.
Did you guys customize your light bar?
Yeah, mine's blue.
Yeah.
No, because I used the Megaton edition or whatever it is, the Duke Nukem one, Atomic Edition, whatever it was called. And I think yellow looks best on it, and that's what it defaulted to. The white one, it's got that red streak around it, and that defaults to red, right? And I still think that's the best color for that. I haven't messed around with the black one at all, which I don't even know where it is. I probably have it back in the box or something like that. That's the only one I could see maybe changing the color on. I wouldn't know what color to change it to.
Yeah, I made mine eggplant purple for the fun of it.
What they should do is have it like RGB effects, so like it does like a rainbow effect going across or something.
Oh, and then we get
It's like color cycling, so it changes colors. You know.
Right. We get the bonus games. It's actually this. I don't know if I was a little cranky from my flight, but I'll tell you, I was mad at this last night.
You were mad at the bonus free games.
Yeah, well, the experience, right? So the one game, and I'll tell you, and I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you why. So the one game, Pew Pew, that was easy, but I thought it was asinine. Somebody who's already subscribed has to subscribe again to the newsletter just to get a stupid code that was like 12 digits that I had to go ahead and type. That took me 2 things, and then it was not fun. I don't know why they did that.
You didn't have to subscribe again. I got my email. I've been subscribed since like 2021 or something like that.
Too.
You know, I forgot if I was subscribed or not, and I entered it in, and I think I got the email twice.
Oh, so the new bonus game that they announced, the Sword of Stone, you can get the game by just looking at your email.
Yeah, what newsletter was it in? Because I've been subscribed.
I don't know. I had to subscribe.
It's like very
code was in the very bottom.
Yeah,
it's on the very bottom of the email that starts with wrapping up the showcase.
Oh,
you know what's funny
I didn't get that email yet. The newsletter. Last one I got March 26th.
Yeah, you should have another one in your email.
I got all the other ones, but to me, it's just like, come on, guys, stop being gimmicky.
I got the email, and I was like, oh, let me try entering this code in, and not realizing I needed to wait till the next day for the firmware to update.
I got one from May 23rd.
My only problem is what if you get into the Evercade sometime down the line in the future? How are you going to get are they still going to be sending out this code?
It says you can only use it 5 times. I was asking if someone else to give me.
That's the thing. Is I was thinking if you had more than 5,
you can get the code by either you can go to the link, you can scan the QR code from the screen that pops up on the VS. You can get it 7 different ways.
Yeah, I haven't got the latest newsletter, so maybe these get sent out in batches.
Yeah,
it
is possible.
I was thinking, what if you have more than 5 Evercade devices?
Yeah,
I go, well,
I
guess you could subscribe with another email address,
You can, yeah.
5 times.
It's called Let's Recap May Evercade Showcase.
I don't think I care enough anymore to get it, so I'll wait till I get my email.
I'm thinking that here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe a year from now, or maybe even several months from now, they'll update it so it'll be a set code.
Yeah.
I'm with Mike on that one. Mike, I agree 100%. They should partner with EB Games Canada. Now that EB Games Canada is no longer under the thumb of the evil empire, they're their own company. Maybe I'll broker that deal.
There you go.
Should
do it.
Should. So yeah, I was just like, give me the. I mean, listen, I was just used to the codes being leaked like they always do, and then you can get them in.
Well, somebody must. Oh, okay, yeah, because individual codes, yeah, that blows.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care enough about it.
So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though, that you put your tech hat on, right? Why did they do this? it's possible that they're testing interactivity between the consumer and a server because
You give them
they are doing
I'll
it
tell you-
already.
I'll tell you why they did it. They want your email address.
Well, of course they want your email.
Exactly.
Yes, of course.
Send me fun stuff. So remember I signed up for that.
But why
newsletter?
go
I got
through the
fun stuff,
method?
you know?
Why go through the method of having an individualized code that has to check back home, and then they'll give you a counter on the back on your system that ticks down how many times you've used the code. You only do that if they're testing some back end features.
Mhm.
You know,
They
between
want your
console
email address.
and somewhere that's home. You know, so I think they're trying to set up some more community features using
Which
a
is
back
cool.
end.
I would like that.
Why would they do this unless they're working on
Because
something else?
they really want your email address.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I had to trade too much.
It's just Crow's like, no, Rich, it's just marketing.
Either way, it doesn't matter. if
Yeah,
you're doing
they
both.
want your email address so they can send you more emails. Like,
Yeah.
buy this product, buy that product, and
Put the
maybe
tinfoil
we'll take
away,
your email and sell it to somebody else. You know,
So that's kind of the thing, right? Because remember before when there were secret codes and they didn't, and like they weren't leaked, and the community actually had to solve them. It was kind of fun. So now, so it's got what it's become more gimmicky. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever. But
Well, they still had to solve the other one, but the other thing about solving it is it's social media. As soon as somebody figures it out,
Yeah.
it's over.
no, but they leak the codes to Crazy Burger and he posts them and they pretend that they always.
Crazy Burger's awesome though.
I was trying to figure it out for a while,
That's
and
the
what the
gimmick,
code
though.
was for the other
They do
game.
that.
And everybody
time I
was
saw
so
the
cryptic
Facebook
in the
on Facebook
Discord,
the other
and
day.
they're like, "Oh, I figured it out. It was the first letter of every sentence in this post." I'm like, "What post? What? You
That's what
any post? What are you talking about?"
That's what I'm talking about. It's too convoluted. Like one person wouldn't solve it that quickly. That's what I'm saying. It's fun though. So, but anyways, yeah. I did have to. You do have to trade your time. Improved mouse support. I think this is great, but I'm like, just give us trackball support already. Like that's.
Oh, somebody's complaining about this. You realize that with mouse support, you already have trackball support because you
Yes.
plug a trackball into your computer, and what does it think? It thinks it's a mouse.
Yep.
Right. But can you plug a trackball into Evercade though in your VS?
You know, I have a trackball somewhere that I meant to use as part of a controller, and I never did. If I could find it, I'd plug it into the Evercade. I guarantee you, it's going to think it's a mouse, and it'll work.
Because my whole thing is, while it's neat that this works, it's not for me. It's not fun for me, at least, to play Centipede with a mouse or something. Like I want a trackball. I'd rather use like.
Let me ask this: is it more fun to play it with a mouse or a D-pad?
So here's my
Are
answer.
we
for
going down
Centipede.
this conversation again? Can we just talk about the stuff?
I'd rather play the Atari 7800 version with the D-pad. So this is a start in the right
Okay,
direction.
you do that.
That's what I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Well, 'cause
wait!
the game
I
was
didn't even
designed-
know about all this shit. This is all interesting.
Yeah, I stumbled upon this somewhere. Some of it, maybe. Yeah, I knew some possibly.
The multiplayer support, like for me, I don't know. This I
I
don't
don't
care because it's local multiplayer and you'd have to have.
But
That's
what's
a-
interesting
You
is you have to
have a friend that-
choose play in through player
Exactly.
mode.
But yeah, I'll care about this because my cousin and I play like 4 or 5 times a year. We have mad like hour long, like sometimes 5-6 hour long sessions. So this is important. I'll go read that later.
Oh, I didn't even realize this improved descriptions. Like,
This is
Anybody
cool.
Wait,
Because
why
they
is
went
this cool?
back-
It looks
But
They
Yeah, I
went
know.
back through.
Rich, I don't want
they
to read it.
improved the older game
exactly.
descriptions.
Yeah, they went
Okay.
back through from cartridges 1 through 16 and added all of the history in the Katie Says to every single title.
Oh, that's
So
it.
they're all unified.
That's good because at least just consistently.
Yeah, now it's
consistently
consistent.
throughout
I don't
now.
want to read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
done
super
with
cool.
reading. Reading
So-
and I are done.
So Katie has a lot more to say. So you better
Oh
listen.
yeah, the famous Katie. That yeah.
She'll come after you. She'll like, listen to me.
Katie.
and then we get a partial factory reset. I guess this is kind of cool if you're having issues, then it won't reset.
I always have
very-
issues.
very-
Yeah, I think the reason they had to do this was because if you, because of the special code that you got in the email,
That's
if you've
true.
used it and you reset the factory reset, maybe you might not be able to use it again.
That's
True.
true. Because once you hit 5, it's probably going to shut the code off.
Yeah, and that's good because I find if you missed a couple updates and you update like a year later, I always have problems with my VS. When I'm 4 or 5 updates behind or something like that. So this is cool. All right, very good. That's good. This is shows they're putting a lot of work in it, man.
They're playing. Let's be honest, they're playing catch up. But yeah, it's.
Oh man,
Well,
Who are they
are they
trying to-
playing catch up, or
man,
do
you're
they?
just mean. Dude,
Yeah. Well, wait. The question is, are they playing catch up, or do they
Yes.
actually now have a dev team?
yeah, I think it's probably that, Rich. Remember, like 2-3 years ago, or maybe longer than that, we had. I was talking to Andrew. They had like one QA person. They were part time.
Yeah, and then it was them and Ryan, and that's
Yeah,
it.
there was like 5 of them, and they were just doing so much. They probably only got a decent sized team with the in the last year, probably 2 years, with their more success.
But we'll never know. All I'm just saying is something like all these features that they're adding are standard stuff that's like on knockoff devices. And
A couple years ago, I was talking to them, and they had I think they had a total of 18 people in the company.
yeah, and for this, yeah,
That's a pretty big company for what they're
yeah,
doing.
exactly, especially for this product, yeah.
Yep.
But I don't know where they're at now, but I don't know. All these things just shows that they're doing
There we
they're
go.
doing stuff their way and they're being responsible. So it might not be everything people want or as fast as they want it, but as someone's in software development, I definitely respect and understand what they're doing.
The other thing too, guys, is that they could hire like contractors to do the QA testing. And like they could say, hey, we need somebody to do this specific
That's
job.
always an option. It's a cheap option too if you go overseas with it.
Yeah, so that they there are options. There are options out there that they could.
Yeah, there's a lot of good affordable testing in countries like the Philippines and stuff like that are just really good at testing video games and good partners. I know. I've used them.
This had me the most psyched. Finally, it's like, okay, good. They're trying to get the Japanese market.
Yeah. I still think that's a big market for them because retro is huge over there, right?
Yeah. Well,
and this is good. Like Ed brought up a good point, though he kind of just generalized everybody living in Tokyo, but his point is still valid. A lot of Japanese would probably gravitate towards getting all their favorite games on one cart instead of five carts for space issues too, right? So that's another thing, right? They don't have to go buy 8 Neo Geo carts or whatever, 6. They can get them all on one cart. That's a good deal, right?
Yep.
If they're not in emulating, which we have to just stop talking about. You can play all this on emulation. Because I think all of us are guilty of saying it too much. We got to stop saying it. You know why? Because we're all playing them on carts, and this is what Evercade's about. Like, we get it. You can play all this on emulation, never have a collection or physical. But the fact that we're talking about Evercade, we have to talk about the fact that, yeah, this is probably a big deal for a lot of people.
Now the next step is we need the Japanese versions of the ROMs, but at least
Yeah, I'm hit or miss on those because sometimes it depends on the generation, right? The NES ones were hit and miss. Sometimes Japanese versions were harder or easier than American versions. It all depends, right, on the game and the generation.
Yeah, and what the statement is in the Japanese language report.
Just gotta say, I've been leaving in like 5 minutes, guys. I let the guys know before the show because my daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
We're doing a big party today, so.
Yeah, and so what they said was that if the ROM supported it, it'll be automatically there, and you'll be able to switch between. But they cater mostly to the English translation version of the ROM on more times than not. So, but it is good though to, like I said, catering to this audience, especially if they are receptive to it, could help in negotiations to open doors in the future. Because if they're, if a company that's stationed in Japan starts realizing that a lot of their local customers are all about Evercade, maybe that's the thing. That's the domino that falls to get them to make that deal happen. You know what I mean? So could be fun.
Yeah. I'm just going to say my goodbyes now. I know you guys are going to talk about all the collections and stuff, but the Roadcraft one, pretty excited about that one. Excited about all of it. But anyway, gotta go. Yeah, lots of stuff going on the channel. Going to be streaming PS2 this weekend, so talk to you guys later. Have fun the rest of the show, guys.
Yeah. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
actually, I had to screenshot that, and I'm just saying that further proves my point. Yes, the world is arcade. So why would it be a good thing? Well, because like often there's like differences like in the like Japanese games, either they're more difficult or they change things. It's just kind of another fun thing. like being exposed like to different culture or whatnot.
But like
it
Dave
costs-
said, is even if it is the same, game, the fact that it's a different ROM counts as a separate game.
Yeah.
So you'd be getting half the games on each cartridge, even if you wanted multiple versions.
Unless they could strike a deal. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't have that with Neo Geo yet. Unless they do that in the dip switches.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is like even
toggle.
with Neo Geo, it's all just one ROM. It's all built into the same ROM.
Exactly.
You have multiple ROMs, so that's the difference.
Yeah,
and they're also when you're a partner too, it's a little bit different because it's not like it costs the partner any more money to get licensing for that. That's why like on their own devices, you'll see they'll have all that stuff.
Yep.
And then there's additional fixes, including ensuring sound. TurboFire, yes. I'm happy to see that.
They did more improvements to a lot of things that they had started introducing the last 2 updates, plus a litany of like at least 5 or 6 game specific updates to shore up some stuff, which is pretty cool.
That is true, Phantom. I'm looking at your Japanese. That is true.
Yeah.
Unless they're blue cards. But yeah. Sorry, had to knock on that. So yeah, no, that's some cool stuff. Again, I would have liked to cool fixes, but underwhelming for a 5th anniversary. Like, why isn't there a special edition theme, a special edition logo? I'm just saying, if they're gonna program and add other stuff, have their art department do some other cool things.
It would be kind of cool. Things to back pocket for the future.
And that's
nothing to say. I mean, 5's a big number, but nothing to say they don't come up with something cool for, like the start off next year. Phantom's also correct. The year isn't over, so yeah, there could be a thing.
I think because really the thing I want to see more like innovation from Blaze, right? Like usually like new tech companies and things starting up, they're like, well, what can we do to kind of push this over the edge? And I mean, like I said, this is good and all, but it's the bare minimum, right? I would really like to see that thing that's just like, hey, this makes it even more spectacular. Like they didn't have to, like, remember when we found out about the Capcom games and the EXP, even though that's where the controversy started, they kind of saved that. And we already kind of thought the EXP was cool. And like, hey, here's some additional games we're throwing in, like that type of a thing.
But that's not really innovation. What are you talking about when you say innovation?
No, innovation would have been something more like some kind of cool, like, hey guys, you only have to buy one device and you can dock everything and you can play all your peripherals and you can transfer saves and you can start playing on the EXP and that would all cost more money.
I don't get it because the saves are already on the cartridge.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's like, I think the Duke 1 and 2s were kind of like the peak. Like I want that.
Was because they had the dev teams work on it on their own. And it gave you some kind of exclusive kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, you never know though.
And that's what I mean. They could do that, and that's why they could do that again. That's why when I say behind, like, I feel like that they don't know how to allocate their resources properly. Like there are, you could contract that, or you could get existing indie dev teams to do that for free because they want their game really bad on the Evercade platform, right? But they just kind of want to do what they want to do, and that's fine.
Isn't that what everybody wants to do? What they want to do?
Yeah, it's true. But there's kind of, but the difference though is that didn't share it. Hold on. It's finding the balance between just doing the art creative thing, or you can do like business wise, you can make smarter decisions. Is kind of what I'm getting at, and not just. But
we don't know every detail of their business.
Yeah,
but they've done that though. They're like, hey, you know what? We understand that the purple carts are for a more niche audience. We're going to go to arcade, and that's what when I said in my thumbnail, I said I was right. I'm like, they're a minimum. They're going to have 3 Neo Geo carts. They're going to have lots of arcade carts. They would be stupid not to do that, being that they're promoting arcade, and they still want to keep their U.S. customers. And they realize They realize we're a pretty big base. I mean,
I think if they wanted to keep the U.S. customers, the one sports game they included in the Neo Geo cartridges wouldn't have been another soccer game.
Well, that's
true.
That was just kind of like their nod to remind us.
That's the one thing I think that irks me about this whole thing is like one sports game on the Neo Geo collections, and it's another soccer game. And it's like you had plenty of other sports titles to choose from. Why choose soccer?
Yeah, like the golf. M is a pretty. What do you mean M is a pretty big deal?
I think you missed.
He meant to say I'm a pretty big deal. You think you might have missed the I.
Yeah, baseball stars would have been cool.
Baseball Stars 2, Baseball Stars Professional. You got Super Baseball 2020. You got Top Players Golf, Neo Turf Masters, Football Frenzy. You had all those. Personally, they should have picked Football Frenzy since we only have one other football game. That's the Power Football, and that one's no good.
Yeah.
I like the fact that towards the end of getting towards the end of this year, not only will there be by the end of the 2025 year of Evercade, there will be 78 cartridges. Not only that, but we're going to get to some pretty we get to those nice round numbers that I like. Because I'm thinking there's going to be there will be 20 arcade carts by the end of the year. I'm thinking there will be at least 10 blue, because we're gonna get the new one in Roguecraft. We're gonna get cartridge 9 in Roguecraft, so we'll probably get one more blue.
And we'll get
and then we're gonna be really close to 50 of the console carts. That's like pretty awesome.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that's a thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, see, it's funny that you say that, Carl. That's what I'm like. No, it's against Evercade law to have an American sport game be on one of these cards, I think.
I know. I realize that soccer is like the #1 sport in the world, but if you look at the popularity of sports in just the U.S., soccer is like the 10th.
Yeah. We care about baseball and football mainly.
It's like baseball, football. I think is #1. Then there's got baseball, you got basketball, hockey. I think even people prefer to watch bowling over soccer.
What you got?
I don't know if NASCAR sport. Yeah, I think people do consider that a sport, and NASCAR is definitely more popular than soccer.
Yep.
So what do you guys? Let's talk about this. Like Neo Geo, and kind of looking like at the Super, I can tell you what I think were some hits and were some misses.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
This cart, touchdown.
What do you? Oh, you mean? Well, wait. Which one are we looking at? There's
a Neo Geo 2.
Okay. Yeah. So I can't remember. You got to remind me. Metal Slug 1 is on Neo Geo 1, right?
Yes.
Okay. What was throwing me off, I was thinking we were getting a King of Fighters game in every cartridge. So when I went back to what King of Fighters game is on this one, I looked as, oh wait, there isn't one.
Well, we're getting what is it?
It's Garou, Mark of the Wolves, which is actually part of the Fatal Fury series.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like it's like the Holy Grail. It's like one of the best like fighting games.
It's a good one. Yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome. I love that game.
We got that. Art of Fight. I mean, I don't know why not Art of Fighting 3. It's weird I think it's weird this game is on here because it's not horrible, but I don't think it's super great.
I think the reason it's there is because there's another year.
Yeah,
there's another year of Neo Geo.
Is the first Art of Fighting on any of their collections?
Is it on Neo Geo 1?
Yeah.
What's interesting about the first one is I think you could only choose from 3 characters, and then you have to fight. Yeah.
So I get why they skipped that. Now, Cross Swords is awesome. It's short. What I would have liked to see them do in the theme is I would have liked to see Cross Swords 2 because that was only available on Neo Geo CD.
Yeah, but that's not bad. What's funny is this might just be me, but I would have preferred to see the Super Spy, and that's just because I played that in the arcade.
That's in the other. I don't know what. I don't know. That's not one of Neo Geo's best games at all.
It's not, but I find it hilarious.
Which one?
The Super Spy.
The
Super Spy.
Yeah.
And then Ninja Commando is it's all right. I think it's pretty cool. But
it's not bad. Sengoku 2. Is the first one have Sengoku on it? The first one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I would have liked to see 3, but maybe, like Rich said, maybe when we have another year, they're dragging it out.
There's more. Yep.
Like
there's
I said,
more to be had.
what
Yep.
I would have preferred is if all the same games were on, like all the Metal Slug games were on one cartridge, and like all the fighting games were on another cartridge. But I know what they're doing; they're trying to spread everything out,
Mhm.
like make it
Yeah,
a variety
right.
on every cartridge.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah,
I prefer it if
pull
it was
you
like
in.
the Metal Slug collection or the King of Fighters collection.
I thought for sure that SNK was going to force that to happen, but I'm glad they didn't,
No.
because I like the fact that the curation is such as, you know, you can get maybe your favorite one on that one collection, but then the other collections have these weird games. You're like, oh, you know what? I want to try that. Yeah, because again, a big part of Evercade for me is discovery. So I'm gonna wind up getting them all anyway because I also collect. But at the same time, it's like, oh, this collection has these games on it. So if I'm planning a trip, I'll just be like, oh yeah, I want to try that one out because I didn't, you know,
Exactly.
put enough time in.
I don't need all Metal Slugs on one cart. I'd like one of
I
them.
I would like that. Because if you think about it, they've done Metal Slug and King of Fighter collections in the past on other consoles. So I thought, hey, why not just do it here too?
Yeah. No baseball stars or Neo Turf yet.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
I
huge
don't get
miss.
Yeah.
I would have even taken Top Players Golf.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's maybe we'll see that. Like those are two big like sports. Like Neo Geo actually makes like fun arcade sports games, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would have wished. But I think so. Here's a definite theme. I think what they've confirmed is when there's a Super Pocket, you can buy that first. You can get your hands on all the games, and then the carts will go later. Because I remember I was saying that last year. Like maybe we get the title carts this year, and we did. So maybe that's their theme.
Maybe.
You know?
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Maybe that's their theme. Well, on the same theme of that, let's see. Did it switch over?
Nice.
Neo Geo 3. And the quantity. Okay, I have so here. Okay, this made me really mad, and I'll tell you why. For one reason, and I actually question and maybe thinking when it comes to Neo Geo, and I don't know, they're really out of touch. For one reason, I kind of feel like anybody who knows anything about the King of Fighters series and research, King of Fighters '98 is like one of the most beloved versions of that. So the fact that they just missed it by one, like, dude, why not 98? Why 97?
Well, that's what I wondered. And well, part of the reason it's so popular, King of Fighters 98, is because there's actually a storyline that goes throughout these games. So I can't remember if 94 is actually included in the first story arc, but definitely 95, 96, 97 is a whole story arc. And then when you get to 98, it's kind of like it's actually not part of the story, but it's like a whole best of those previous games all together into one game.
Thank you. Yes.
But and then you know 98 99 actually goes on with another story, and I think it's like the 99, 2000, 2001. I think 2002 is like another 98. So it's like if you're familiar with like the Tekken series, it's like you got Tekken 1, 2, and 3 all having a story, and then you got Tekken Tag Tournament, which is like, oh, let's mix in everything from those first games.
Yeah.
And
yeah. No, you've given
and it's actually not part of any story, you know.
You've given a better detailed answer. No, I was going to say from like 94 to 98, this is the one that like peaked in the series before starting a new thing. Yeah.
I could see not putting 94 on here just because it's the only one of the King of the Fighters where you have to play as a pre-selected team of 3. You can't mix and match your team.
It's all about the fisting. Yeah,
but this is kind of why I would have liked to see King of Fighters collection. Then you could have had 94, 95, 96, 97, 98 all in one collection.
Yeah, that could have been cool. But yeah, we
I
got the next.
We'll see 98 though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what they like. If there's going to be more Neo Geo cards, I don't think there'll be more this year. If anything, it'll be next year.
I tell you what's a treat. I didn't think Blaze would be aware or put Twinkle Stars. It's like such an underrated, very fun, awesome like. I didn't think we would ever see that.
Well, at least it's there for variety, something different.
Yeah.
Yes. And being able to play that on a big screen. Of course, then we get maybe the best version of Samurai Showdown 2. Depending on.
Honestly, I liked all the Samurai Showdowns. I played the first one in the arcade a bunch.
Yeah, Samurai Showdown is awesome.
It was kind of weird. And then, have you all played? I I remember Ghost Pilots being a good. I would have liked to see some of their other shoot 'em ups, but I think this one was pretty good. I haven't played Ghost Pilots much.
Yeah, there's nothing to really complain about other than if you would have much preferred to see a different shoot 'em up. But
Yeah,
I don't know. And back in the day, Neo Geo was more known for shoot 'em ups because there were a bunch of them on there. But then the fighting games kind of overtook that.
yeah. And then Super Sidekicks. I'm like, I don't know. Of all the sport, like really, they picked one of the worst.
I'm sure this is a fine game, but I haven't really played it a whole lot.
Yeah, I think they said, you know what? We don't have enough soccer games already in the Evercade ecosystem, so we need some more.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like, oh, let's pick the most popular sport again.
Yeah. So yeah, but seeing the 97 at the 98 and that, I was really looking forward to a baseball stars or Neo Turf Masters. I was really looking forward to that.
If I had to pick one sports game to put on there, it probably would have been Baseball Stars too.
Yes. Yeah, that's better than that would have been that would have been fine, but no, they had to do. But overall, though, like very, very cool. Very glad to see this. Very glad to see a good variety. Again, it's just good. We're seeing some of these games that were on the Super Pocket, but it looks like the Super Pocket is going to be the preview. So kind of going back to what you're saying, Rich, we have another year. So when we see the next collection, so they're just going to keep pulling games off of the Super Pockets, and maybe we might see something different. I'm not really sure. The poor man's Fire Shark. Oh, good Lord, Gene talking about fisting and all that. Well, yeah, let's move on to Taito Arcade one.
Taito.
Did we just kind of skip over Roadcraft, or did I miss that?
I think we're gonna end. I think we're gonna end.
Okay, we're gonna do the last.
Yeah.
Because I kind of skipped over it when I recapped like what I'd seen. I kind of focused in on the Taito and the Neo Geo. And after I filmed it, I'd been like, I didn't really talk about that Roadcraft card.
Oh, thank you so much for gifting a sub. We have to give him a Randy Savage. That sounded wrong. We can't do cross. Sorry, change. Yeah, have to give him a Randy Savage real quick.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah, I am the cream. Nobody does it better.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
Now switch back. Anyways, disrupted the whole flow, but it's all good. Oh, Dan Asta got it. Awesome.
Cool.
Very cool. So yeah, Bubble Bobble. That I'm happy to see. To be able now, I can officially stream that on Evercade hardware. Space Invaders.
Well, now you can play it with another person.
Yes. Yeah, you have to have another person.
Yeah, because you can play it now, but yeah, you'd have to have this.
Yeah, that's right.
I think you get a different ending if you play with two people.
Oh, that's cool.
I know you do on the NES. I know you did like on the NES version, so I wouldn't be surprised. Like that was like the true ending. You had to beat it with two players.
Yeah, I think you can't get the true ending unless you play with another person.
Right? Yeah. That's probably the same case.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I know Rich is not the 2600 version, but I'm sure you're happy to get Space Invaders in any.
Yes.
I'm pumped about that too.
Yeah. I mean, so they keep hinting about like, unlocks, and I'm like, I would just, it would be awesome. Put in Taito 1 and 2, get the Atari Space Invaders, but
would be funny is if it was Space Invaders Part 2.
Yeah, it's just like we're not going to give you the 2600 Space Invaders. I'm like, it would be awesome.
Version.
I don't think they could. Isn't that licensed by Atari?
Yeah, but they're still working with Atari.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But could you get an Atari game? Could you get an Atari game by putting two Taito cartridges in?
Why not? Still
Because
technically Taito.
Well,
it's licensed from Taito.
Yes,
Yeah.
but here's where I bet Blaze does. Since we did get like Atari Arcade, they could also just say, hey, we also want Space Invaders to put on the collection. They could have technically already licensed it as part of that other deal, but they throw it on there as an incentive that if you buy both of the collections, and it makes it worth it. Like you're spending $60, now it's worth it. But yeah, they did that with Snow Bros. We got the Nintendo version.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if they could pull off. I was psyched to see Space Invaders.
Well, here's the thing. It's like there's a difference with that. With like the NES version, you still knew it was a Taito game. But
Yeah.
how? But if you were go back rewind to like this early late early 80s, and you plug Space Invaders into the Atari 2600, like how do you even know it's a Taito game unless you read the tiny print that says it's
You
licensed
don't.
from Taito?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to look for all the asterisks.
As far as I knew, it was an Atari game for the longest time because Atari's logo was all over it.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't until much later when I noticed. I was like, oh, what are all these asterisks after every one of these titles? And then it's all because every single one of those has a thing.
Well, I thought Pac-Man and Mario Brothers were Atari games, you know?
Right?
And maybe put in Title 1 and 2 and you get Zookeeper. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I could kind of see that.
They want you to pay the extra dough. Of course.
C64.
No more C64.
Or
Anyway.
or I could just do this, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
And yeah, I would want to see more C64, but only if we could get Electronic Arts or Accolade games.
Yeah.
Which I'm not even sure they got in the UK at this point.
No. But Legend of Cage, that I was happy to
it's Legend of Kage. Legend of Kage.
Sorry.
Hey, I gotta correct you now, otherwise everybody will be correcting you later.
I still call it Legend of Cage. Make people like tape mode.
Okay. All right. I guess if you want to get those comments in, you know.
Right. That was is that like that? I don't know. That was on a Super Pocket. That was just kind of mad to play. To kind of play.
Kage was pretty cool.
It was neat to have.
It was oh shoot, that's the Numbskull. Wait, is it the Numbskull? Is that the brand? Shoot, I can't remember. I got the Burger Time and the Zookeeper one. I think it's
Oh, that's what
Numbskull.
he was asking. What was? What
Yeah,
was
they're
that?
slightly bigger than the New Wave ones,
Oh, okay.
and it is
Mini-
very very playable. I could play it, and it's not as small as it looked because maybe it's because my window's smaller than it sure is.
Yeah.
It's
So,
1/6 size, I think, or is it one?
Yeah.
No, it's quarter size, 1/4 size. The New Wave ones are 1/6 size. Yeah,
What-
1/4 scale. Yeah.
Okay, 1/4 scale numbskull. Got it. What do you guys think of Growl? I thought this was a very weird beat 'em up, and I like beat 'em ups, but
I've always liked Growl, even before it was on the Super Pocket.
Growl's
Like,
pretty cool.
the boss of the game was the most frustrating experience, though. Maybe it'll be better on real controls and have them use it.
Did you play? Did you play to the end?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, then I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
But the boss, like that's the boss is a quarter muncher. So I don't know. I think maybe I might have. I don't know, like 64 Streeters. Even though that's like that.
What's there to
that's
complain about? I mean, it's an arcade game. You die, you put
It
it
is.
in the coin, and you continue. It's
Yeah.
It is.
It's all
but
good.
I mean, it's fine. I'm saying it's fine to have here, but something else.
Yeah.
Don Doko Don is really cool. I'm glad we get more of those Bubble Bobble inspired, like fun games. Like this I put a little bit of time to in the Super Pocket.
Yeah.
Are you guys fans of crack? This game I find to be very frustrating. Again, it could be because playing it on the Super Pocket, but I found
There's nothing wrong with Check and Pop. It's just one of those games that we didn't play back in the day because we never actually got a port of it back then. But it's starting to see a surgence in popularity.
I will give that a second chance being on a bigger screen. But yeah, too bad Pete left. Pirate Pete. I don't know. I've never played this game, so
Okay, have you played Jungle Hunt?
yes.
Then you've played Pirate Pete. It's the same
There's a
game.
pirate version of that. Oh my god. Okay, this is going to be epic.
Here's what I don't understand though. Why did they give us Pirate Pete and not Jungle Hunt?
Yeah, that's weird, right? Is it
Somebody was
licensing?
saying, I was looking up stuff and I was trying to figure out what the reason for it was. I mean, there is a little bit of a difference in gameplay from what I read, but it's pretty much still the same game. Same four screens, the vines, the sharks, the boulders, and then the final screen where you're rescuing. But they just changed it to a pirate theme, and I can't figure out why. In fact, this is the third iteration. The first one was Jungle King, and that had Tarzan in it, which they didn't have the license for, which is why they had to quickly change it to Jungle Hunt and redo the graphics. So this is like the third redo of graphics of the same game. So I can understand why they didn't give us Jungle King. I don't know why they didn't give us Jungle Hunt, unless Taito doesn't own rights to that for some
It
reason.
could be. It could be. So
Oh wait.
just have to interrupt you. Huge thank you to Crypto Coffee, member for 3 months. Really appreciate it. And actually, he's actually does kind of bring up a good question. Being that they've been around for 5 years, do you think they'll be thriving in 2030? I hope so.
Oh, I know why they didn't get Jungle Hunt.
Okay, what's that?
Because Intellivision Entertainment bought the rights to Jungle Hunt and Bumper.
There it is. I knew. I
There you
had
go.
a feeling it was something like that.
There you go. But do you all think Evercade will be around? Will still be like another 5 years?
Well, I'm wondering if I'll still be around in 5 years.
I mean, they have a plan for it. That's for sure. That was said.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think any business plans on going out of business.
Well, of course
in 5
not.
years.
Yeah, but they already have at least 2 years out. The deal's locked in. So unless something really crazy happens, they're going to be around for at least another 2 years. So we're going to get to year 7. So and then at that point, as long as they can keep signing stuff between now and then, I mean, I could easily see them going 10 years.
I think if the price points can stay the same, I think though for their consoles and I think they've got to figure out a way to get that cheaper though, because you're starting to get into that.
And the real question is, in the next 5 years, how many soccer games are going to put out?
Right.
Many
exactly.
soccer games. But
Probably
yeah,
should do a video. But yeah, I've been thinking about that too. Would they still be there like another 5 years or?
when
will
would
the
be their
2
2
millionth?
millionth? Well, it took them, what was it, 3 years to get to 1 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to show growth, if they got to 2 million in 2 years, that would be cool. And then
Right.
3 million another year from then. Yeah. That'd be huge.
And then we have what? Ramias or I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny is that they put that up on the screen, and I couldn't even read the logo for the game. I was like, "What is?" I don't recall this at all. This is like the one game that not ringing any sort of bells whatsoever for me.
No, I've never heard of
What,
it. Yeah.
Ramius?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like looks like a cool little maze game. I'm interested.
yeah. I mean, that and Colony 7, but I think I've heard of Colony 7.
I've
still
heard of
know
Colony
very little of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I haven't played it, but I've heard of it. So
Yeah.
You can't complain. I'm not going to say, "Hey, this is a terrible game" or anything. But I just don't know anything about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool that there's 3 games on this cart that aren't on the pocket, which is neat.
Exactly.
that.
That's the important thing.
All right, that's interesting thing. Are the games still on the Super Pocket that aren't on any of these cartridges?
No, I think now that
No.
all of them are on the cartridges.
Okay.
Oh no, except for no, there's one game that's not. No,
Space
there's-
Invaders 91.
Yeah,
No,
that would have
there's
been
two
a good one.
Okay, there's 2 games that aren't. What about Bustin'? I don't think Bustin' Move is on this card.
Puzzle Bobble.
But yeah, I call it Bustin'. Yeah.
I don't call it Bust a Move because I actually have a game called Bust a Move, and it's not
Wait,
that game.
Isn't Puzzle Bobble on the second cart?
No.
Puzzle Bobble is on the Oh yeah, you're right. I don't recall it. It's on. You know what it is? It's on the alpha. It's not on the carts. Is it?
Exactly.
Oh. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what if that's the unlock?
Oh,
What if you get Puzzle Bobble with the 2 carts?
that would be cool.
So you get Operation Wolf. That's on there. It's gonna have mouse support as Gene.
By the way, here's the real Bust a Move.
Nice.
Yeah, see, but that again, that doesn't do it because the problem is for me using a mouse, then I'm getting the feel of playing a PC game. I'm not getting the feel of playing an arcade game.
Okay, well, the thing is, it's a light gun game. You're not going to have the feeling of playing it the way it was intended on being played unless you had a light gun. In fact,
True.
in the game, even if you had a light gun, it still wouldn't feel like the arcade game because it was a very unique thing. It's like that Terminator 2 arcade game
Terminator.
where it was like an Uzi, that was like attached to the thing. Like you couldn't lift it up and move it around. You could only angle it. So
True.
there's no way it was going to feel like the arcade. But mouse support is going to make this game way more playable than if you were forced to use the D-pad.
It is.
Or,
I
wonder if it would have analog support too, because that might be
I
slightly
played on
better
the-
than the D-pad. But
it is. I'm just saying on the Steam Deck, I played it with using the touch pads and it's better. Analog sticks, it's better, but
I'm perfectly
trackball
fine with
is-
it, to be honest, because I played plenty of games on the PlayStation that were like light gun games with the PlayStation mouse, and sometimes I actually almost prefer it sometimes, because a lot of times I'm better at these shooting games with a mouse than I am with a gun.
Well, of course, because it's kind of like it's cheating, right? Because it's a lot easier. You're going to be more accurate. That's kind of it kind of takes the fun out of it. That's what I was kind of getting at. But
The fact that you're doing better, doesn't that make it more fun?
not if you're cheating. Not if you're taking the skill gap. That's why I say like a trackball at least is a little more floaty. So it might, I don't know.
But like, there's no way you're going to get the arcade experience of Operation Wolf on the Evercade, even if you had a light gun support. Which, you know what? I was thinking about this. Those newer modern light guns that you could use on for MAME and stuff. Doesn't Windows see those guns as a mouse?
Yes.
I swear.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
with
It
the
does.
Evercade, I don't have one of those guns, but I'm tempted to maybe get one just to see if it would work like a mouse
Oh,
on the Evercade.
I don't know where mine went. I
Well,
used
see,
to have
It's
them.
either there's two of them. There's like the Sinden one, and I can't remember the name of the other one.
Yeah, the other ones are the ones that I
Right.
have.
Sinden's going to put that white border around, which could be annoying, and then there's the other one that uses the sensors. That's more
I
expensive.
saw a demo of that gun where they were just pointing at the Windows operating screen and they were moving the cursor around.
Mhm.
Yeah. It definitely does. But believe me, I'm when it comes to driving games and light gun shooters, those are experiences that are very difficult to replicate at home and still be fun. So I'm going to be super picky. It might be more
Yeah.
fun.
But to me, what's funny is it doesn't have to be exactly like the original experience for me to have fun with it.
Some games I feel like that. Some games, yes and no. It kind of depends.
It just has to be playable and not frustrating.
That seems to be so that should be Blaze's motto. Our games are playable, but semi-frustrating. But yeah, I'm glad to see it here though, because I thought it was disgusting the fact that Operation Wolf was even on the Super Pocket. Because that's trying to, anybody who could get past the second level without using save states on the Super Pocket.
I think I may have booted that once on the Super Pocket. I didn't buy the Super Pocket to play Operation Wolf. I wouldn't say I never really played the game. So, the fact that I'm just skipping it over is nothing to me. It's like,
yeah. But we'll see. I'll have to compare the controller versus something like this. I might actually like a controller. It depends on the floatiness. We'll have to see. And the New Zealand story, fun but hard game. Good Lord. I had trouble playing that on the Super Pocket.
what'd be interesting though is if with these mouse, the games that support the mouse, are we going to be able to control the sensitivity at some point?
You can now, but it's not per game. I think you have to go into you can do that in the
Oh, okay. It's a universal setting. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Kind of like
It's better than nothing, but yeah, it should be per game.
Yeah, scan line should be per game too. If you get when you do that code unlock game, the Sword of Stone, that game you have to have scan lines on, or it's going to hurt your eyes to play. But that's
Really?
I found that out last night. Yeah.
Are you talking about on a handheld or on a VS?
No, I'm talking about like on the VS. Yeah.
I don't know.
'Cause
Maybe I never really consider turning scan lines on. I never have. So I don't think I'm going to have an issue with it.
You'll see. It's because like someone was telling me, I think it was Wolfside. He's like, "Yeah, you're going to want to turn on scan lines," and I was like, "Good God," because otherwise it was like blinding. But yeah. Anyways, I want to go off topic. But yeah, so we got that. We got, of course, Rust, and thank God, like that game will be a lot of fun.
It's good
Play
times.
that. So yeah, I'm starting to get to some of my favorites here, like Roston, Elevator Action, Liquid Kids, Kiki Kai Kai with actually like being on a bigger screen and real controls. This game is hard as nails. Like you need to.
Kiki Kaga, yeah.
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 Liquid Kids is always fun.
Yeah.
Voltified. This will be much. Now, this might actually be. This did they have mouse support for that? Because that might actually be because
Volfied? No.
Yeah.
No, you never used the mouse. You know that this is. You know, Volfied is the sequel to Kix.
Ah.
Is it?
Yes.
Cool.
But yeah,
So yeah, you never use the. You don't need analog controls. D-pad's fine for this.
It's
just
It
Kix.
It is. I was just thinking like if to make it. Actually, it would probably be too much. Again, it might be too easy. But no, this actually played kind of well in the Super Pocket. I was kind of impressed. Alpine Ski. Have any of you all played or heard of this game? I have not.
I haven't, but I'm in for any ski game like this, like Ski Free or the Activision Atari 2600 skiing game. I love those top-down skiing games.
I think I've played this one.
And we didn't get Zookeeper, but we got the Electric Yo-Yo. I don't know. This one looks like balls to me.
I always see this in MAME, and I think every time I boot it up, you know what's funny is like every time I shut it off after playing it, it like goes from my memory. I can't remember anything about this except for what it looks like.
Oh, you know what? We have some more breaking. Hey, Gamer Blog, good to see you around. So he said he found out VGP won't fulfill the June cart order.
Oh, really?
Well, now how am I supposed to get it since it's sold out on Songbird?
See, you know what? That's why I'm glad that I held off, because as soon as I saw that they were pulling Evercade off of their site, I'm like, they're probably not going to carry it. Songbird, I have a feel like Songbird, I think, will open up the pre-orders again.
I ordered it before they did that.
Ooh, I think with this they have to give you a refund because
they have to give me a refund because I'm not buying anything off the site.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good lord, the mini stick is too expensive. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see a Taito 3. But yeah, now for Roguecraft. They'll have stuff in a week. Yeah, Songbird is going to be the new thing. Oh, but they did give him a refund. That's awesome, dude. At least they did that.
Yeah, I've been surprised if they didn't offer just the straight up refund for that.
Yeah. Because I know normally if you cancel, you get credit.
Because it's not like you're canceling the order; they're canceling the order.
Yeah. So Roguecraft, what do you all?
Honestly, for a single cart, I think this is better than Full Void.
No.
Because this is if it's I don't know much about this, but if it's like any other roguelike game, you'll keep replaying it and it'll be a different experience every time.
So I don't think that's the question because there's the levels regenerate, but that doesn't mean it's a roguelike having random levels. Like you'd have to have progression.
I mean, that's not the only well, that's the difference between a roguelike and a roguelite.
No. I mean we could debate, but that is one of the requirements.
Well,
one of the requirements
is that you have, like with any of like the rogue type games, you have to have like progression unlocks that's the whole like point of like the replayability. You're unlocking things, you're unlocking new powers, you're unlocking new abilities.
I assume when they say roguelite, that it would have all that. Now I haven't played the game, but if they're saying roguelike, then I'm assuming that stuff, which means that every time you play it would be different.
Otherwise, Crisis would be considered a rogue type game, and it's not. They just have random level, but you don't actually unlock any progression. Roguelite is supposed to be like an easier version of roguelike, even though I think it's just more for advertising. They're kind of
this is kind of this is kind of like a side. This is kind of parallel to Rogue 64, which is a free game.
Yeah, and it's the same
game.
It's the same developer.
Same people. Same people.
Yeah. So Rogue 64 was like the I guess the base, and then
and this is like the fully
like the spiritual successor.
Yeah, this is like the fully featured version of that.
Yes, yeah, and Rogue 64 was my favorite unlockable game. Like of all of the 10, well now I don't know about the other two, but of the 10 that preceded the 2 that are new, this was my favorite hidden game. Period. Rogue 64.
I can't say I don't because I have played the Rogue 64 more than any other hidden games, but that's only because I really haven't played any of the other hidden games. I never really got to that point.
So that is okay, Ross. So that is my concern. I hope it because like Rogue 64 was way too short. Like to you know what I mean? And then,
But
Yeah,
wasn't it randomized when you play it though? I mean, the whole point was you're
Yeah,
supposed to play it again and again and again.
Yes.
yeah, but there wasn't enough. Really, there wasn't enough complexity or interest. Like, and again, you didn't have like progression unlock. So I'm like that. It didn't. It's really not. It's again. That's really not like a roguelike type game because
Yeah.
That would make it a roguelite.
I don't know. I think even roguelike. I mean, it's up
A
to interpretation.
roguelite is basically having some of the features of a roguelite,
Yes.
but not
Yes.
all of them.
But the two biggest things is random levels and like being able to unlock progression. That's like the two biggest.
But if you think about it, the more you play it, the more you get better. Isn't that progression?
No, I'm talking about like actually making your character more powerful, not your skill. I know where you went there, but my only concerns if it's too short. So here's the thing. I like the fact that it's a
Ooh.
DX, right?
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries.
Just give me a second. That it's a remaster because for me, in my opinion, playing a lot of these C64 games that we have compared to other retro games, they feel a bit like outdated, just to like from the looks and the way they play. And I'll even go back and even talk about like on the Intellivision collections, like those little like ASCII dungeon kind of games. Like this, at least like graphic wise and everything, like it looks like it's updated to what it looks like. The controls, I could be wrong. I could play it and be like, yeah, this is bullshit for a single player game. But I'm very interested in this. I will take this one game on a C64 collection over a bunch of other ones. Now, if this is just Rogue 64 with a different skin, then yeah, I'll be disappointed. But I hope it's just more. I hope it's just more than that.
Yeah, well, the dev team said that they've like, put in a lot more effort and a lot more, there's a lot more to the DX than there was for Rogue 64, and they leaned into like replayability and like that kind of things. So I'm psyched for it.
It's a very okay. That's good. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping because definitely and yeah, like we'll have more replayability than the Full Void. So as much as I love Neo Geo and as much as I love Taito, this is something actually kind of more unique that you'd want to see in like a 5th year anniversary showcase.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. It's a nice little indie spotlight.
Yes, and again, and that's why like when I did my showcase review, I said I was right. But I've been saying for like the longest. They need to do like more like indie, more homebrew, like Amiga and C64, like kind of updated games like this. And so I'm glad we're actually seeing it, and we're seeing a dedicated one. And that's why I think with the licensing available to them, I think this would be better than any of the other games that Blaze has access to. Again, may not be a popular opinion, but this does have like unlocks and progression too. If it really is, and they've really made replayability, and you can be different classes and all that, then that would be amazing.
Oh,
what do you have there?
Box.
Let me. What was that? We could. What was that?
Had to get. It's voodoo glass.
Oh. It's pretty.
I knew it was coming.
Is that so? It's just going to be like clear for your.
No reflections.
Awesome. I figured, yeah. For those of you who don't know,
there should be a couple other mods in there too.
Crow got a Godzilla pinball machine and upgrades and like sold like a lot of retro stuff and pretty cool. Yeah, I kind of feel like, not to go off on a tangent, but honestly, if you're going to invest that much money in a pinball machine, you might as well get the good glass. So I know, like when I saw Retro Rouse videos, like it made a difference to like not have the reflection.
Yeah, like the day I booted it up, I was like, oh, this is more reflection than I see on the Star Trek.
Yeah.
And with that, I just have the DMD blocker, and I'm fine. And the black glass has been modified, so it's not fully bright. It's got the coin taper thing in there. I will eventually get the coin taper thing on there on the Godzilla, but I can see the reflection from the screen and the back glass on there, and it's kind of hard to see some of the stuff in the back. Now, granted, when I'm playing it, I kind of can see past that. But when I first started playing it, my eyes just kept focusing in on the reflections.
Yeah. So what's an increase? I see several comments by people are now going to be more choosy, and so I wonder, with the price increases and everything, that I mean, it was kind of like that. It was kind of like that before, but
Yeah.
And this may be another video another time, but I think at this point though, I think like the carts cannot be any more. I think $30 is the absolute ceiling.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. It's like, to me, I might be able to go a little bit higher, but I'm thinking like for 2 carts. Yeah, I don't know. Like with shipping and taxes and everything, I wouldn't want to pay more than 100.
Well, yeah, and it would
unless they start putting a lot more games on the cartridges.
Right. Yeah.
See, that's kind of the thing to compensate to kind of compensate for that. Oh, Roadcraft is a good looking game. Briefly put it. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. I don't know. For some people, I don't know. Again, do a dedicated video, but I think 10.
I was just curious. I was wondering if Roadcraft was on Steam, and it's on there, but it's not out yet.
Oh. See, if it's on there and if it's like $5 or $10, but yeah, that's cool. You're getting a Super Pocket. I don't know. I think it's $70. May not. I don't know. I think that's. We'll see if they still sell well, but I think compared to what else is out there, they've kind of entered into that era where you can actually get pretty decent handhelds for.
Well, yeah, and it depends on the newer ones when they come out. At that price point, like, are they gonna, if they have enough value packed in, then that might be a difference maker.
Yeah. Agreed. I think they need to offer more games and then give you better quality buttons for that price. That's all, and like D-pad.
Well, but because like also you got to realize that the price increase is that's all of it is asterisk.
Yeah.
It's not like price increase to just do a price increase. It's price increase because of Crazy Time. And if crazy Time decides to be over, then it goes back to normal.
Maybe. I don't know. If Blaze did that, they would be awesome. If they drop the prices back, that would be. Usually companies don't do that though. That's the.
Yeah, well, but remember, it's not Blaze; it's the U.S. retailers.
No, I know
the
that.
U.S. retailers.
No, I know that, but still though, it's. Or it could be something where maybe the U.S. resell, maybe they keep the price. It's hard to say.
It's yeah, you're right. I mean, because if they sell the exact same amount, regardless of price differences, someone like an Amazon or a local U.S. reseller is going to go, well, what's the difference? I'm just going to leave the price the way it is. If they're moving the same way that they used to, then there's no reason to bring it down. That's correct. But if they take the hit on the sales and then they have the opportunity to lower them because there's no more of the covering tariff thing, then absolutely they'll bring it back down to the way it was.
Yeah, but then they could say, well, things are stabilized. What we want to see. The only reason why like Blaze can't do there would be an unrecoverable backlash. Because there's no reason for them in the UK to like to your point for them to
right. Well, that's why they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, maybe that's why they did the $5 pricing. They kind of like snuck that in.
Yeah.
Once they go up, they generate rigatone. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But
Sean says a lot of things. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good though. The big again, what I would have liked them to see are, hey, here are the resellers in the United States that you can order from. They're going to have everything. They're check back in a week. It would have been nice to be part of an official announcement. I think that Blaze relies on things being hidden in a Discord message. I don't know if they do that for accountability or if it's laziness, but that makes it like I kid you not. I find like from like weird off the wall things, I find that out like Genejoke has been my resource. Like seriously, like from the Discord stuff, right? Like I'm happy somebody's willing to sift through that. Like
yeah. What's funny is you mentioned Genejoke about being the source for information. He's the one I actually got the Pew Pew from because I couldn't find it anywhere else, and I looked and he just put out a video about it, and I was like, okay, that's what the code is. Why couldn't anybody just flat out just say that's what the code was?
that's pretty crazy.
I didn't see his video, but I wonder was that an homage to Gene because of this? Let me know if this is too loud. I won't play the whole thing. Just let it get to the main chorus.
If you like, shoot 'em up, say pew, pew, pew. Hey, hey.
So yeah, I wonder if that was an homage to him.
Oh, you know, was that in his last video? Because honestly, I stopped watching it as soon as he said what the code was.
I have. He just beat Crazy Burger to it. Awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, listen, maybe that's why they took us out of the beta testing group to kind of, yeah. Although back then we couldn't like say. I mean, you could, but it would have looked bad, right? But whatever, all good, all good stuff. Again, I'm happy overall with the showcase. I would have liked, and again, maybe we'll never get that Duke Nukem 1 or 2 thing again.
That was just a coincidence. They stumbled across that and happened to be able to get a license from Gearbox.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is possible that they might get something like that again because it did well. So but it depends. Like you got to find the right dev, you got to find the right opportunity, and the team has to be able to take on the project.
I mean, if that wound up being a big seller for them, who's to say they wouldn't have gone and done something like, oh, let's do the same thing for Commander Kean or Jilla the Jungle or something, There's plenty of DOS platformers like that could be updated and upgraded and made more playable.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Who knows? Like, there could be another indie dev working on that now. There could be another indie dev game. They could make it a project, if they want to keep the cost, so hire contractors, program for that specific project, and then maybe they have them like coming back. Yeah, dude, exactly. That's what, like you said it correctly, Carl. Like it just kind of like fell into their lap, and that's what I mean. Like why, like it should be like someone's full-time job. One of I kind of like going after. And that's like I hate that. Like and again, maybe another video, but I cringe when I like what you're saying, Rich. Like they already have their next 2 years of licensing deals done. I cringe when I hear that because that means we're not going to get anything that's up to date. You know what I mean?
Well, that's not necessarily true. Just because they have those licenses doesn't mean something can't come up in the meantime and squeezed in there.
That's correct.
But
and they said that. They said as much. Andrew said that as much during an interview. He also said that there's been quite a bit of things that like people, like a lot of people push for certain things, and like they're asking for specific things over and over and over again. It's not like they don't hear you. It's just sometimes it takes a while for those deals to get done.
Yeah, it could take years for those deals to get done.
So, and then very specifically, there was said in a recent interview, Andrew stated that the Taito license took them nearly 4 years to get done. And then on top of that, there is something that's going to get announced shortly. So by the end of the year, probably, that was another 4 years in the making.
Namco.
So,
that'll be Namco then.
So you just never know, and you don't know what's coming. Because some things will be a complete surprise.
But we don't know the detail. But I'm pretty positive we're going to get Namco, only because you can play the Namco Arcade 1 and 2, and I think that, or not arcade, the red cards, and I think that was only possible due to another licensing deal.
That is possible, or it's possible that it could be the expiration of a deal, and then they're just like, well,
oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, if
we're not beholden to your requirements, and there's not going to be an option for a deal, then we're just going to let this go.
I mean, it is possible that, like, okay, when they came out the VS and they had to renegotiate the licensing for all the cartridges, and the Namco was the only one that said no. Who's to say that they just didn't keep coming back to them every once in a while until they said yes?
Yep. That's true.
I would like to see their break. Like, I find that hard to believe to develop in 9 months. I don't like. Other than making it.
Okay, let's have you do a cart and see if you could do it faster than 9 months.
If I don't have the resource. I don't know. Give me the
Yeah.
Give me the
Okay, we'll get the resources and then we'll time you.
Well, for one, the games already exist, so you're not really having to do as. I mean, I guess they do. They maybe do some tweaks. You have the artwork, and you have the deal, and you have the manufacturing.
Right.
Yeah, but we just heard that the
That's
deal
8 months.
itself.
That's 8 months
deal-
right there.
The deal itself can take years.
Right.
It could.
Yeah.
It
'Cause
could.
it was also said that and confirmed that the way the negotiation deals go, it isn't just like here's a menu you get to pick. It's a consistent back and forth between the publisher and Blaze. So there's give and take with what gets on a cart, how it gets selected, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
course.
mean, if you ever get emailing somebody back and forth, they don't often reply back as soon as you reply to them. It
Well,
can take a
if they're
couple
doing-
days, and if you're doing that like dozens of times, months can go by.
Yeah.
If they're doing deals through email, that's their first mistake. You don't do not only that when they say 4 years, it's not like they're talking to them every single day. It's like they may talk to them briefly.
Right.
Time may go by, so don't.
That's
don't
right.
forget.
Timing is key.
But here's the proof of what I'll tell you of why I don't think they'll be up to date. If that was the case, we would have had a Tetris cart or a Tetris Super Pocket with all the buzz and everything that went around, like with the movies and Blue's Beauty. We got none of that, and it's not like you can't license Tetris. So come on now. I mean, Mod Retro was able to license and develop their own version. So that's the only reason why I kind of say that. They're just I get it's a balance between going after the easy licenses to what they can get. Like the C64 carts did not take 9 months to develop. I'm sorry.
It'd be interesting to get a Tetris cart. I wouldn't be that excited for it. I've played
You would,
Tetris
but there-
dozens of times.
But
Dozens
there'd be
of
a
different
great
ways.
population of people that would buy a Super Pocket just for Tetris.
But I don't
No,
get that. There's plenty of other ways to play Tetris on a handheld.
Yeah, but all those devices suck though. They're worse quality than like the Super Pockets, and they're
Like the Game Boy Advance.
No, people aren't going to be spending like $200 to get a blacklit LCD. That I'm talking about like those other like My Arcade devices and things that you see like the other YouTube shills. Like,
But if you really want to play Tetris and all that's all you care about, yeah, you got that My Arcade Tetris device, and that's Tetris.
yeah, but it's a weird trust me, from someone who loves Tetris, it's not the definitive way that I.
Okay, there's a difference between just wanting to play Tetris and being a Tetris aficionado.
True. But those are bad. Those aren't good
Like,
versions.
funny you mentioned that because my sister, I was over at her house and she had that
Exactly.
My Arcade Tetris laying around. I was like, oh,
That is, dude, the Mod Retro. Other than like playing like the end, like that for me, that is the definitive version. Like I enjoyed that just as much or more than the Game Boy.
hey,
And-
look at
and
this. I got handheld Tetris.
Yeah, I know, but that looks. Yeah, but
Right.
dude, that looks so.
And it's
slow,
Tetris and it's a handheld, and I paid less than $10 for it.
and you got what you paid for. That's my.
And it's credit card size. If you want something small, man, this is a lot smaller than an Evercade.
Yeah, but no. Again, there's a certain audience for that, but that's
Yeah.
that's like too crappy. So that's why I cringe when they have the next card.
Hey, you
I
haven't played it. You can't say it's crappy or not if you haven't
Yes, I
played it.
can. From the videos and the screen. I believe me. If I got my hand on one of those, I'm like, yes, would be even crappier than I thought. Believe me,
You would
that's
just,
why.
I couldn't trust your opinion because you've already decided ahead of time.
That's because I'm confident, man. I know what I like. I have gone on a quest to play like what I want. That's what I'm saying. You can have opinions about certain things. Like you can have opinion about a movie before you see it and all that. It's like you can from
Yeah,
you can have
but then if you go see that movie, you'd have to come up with specific examples why you were right, or say, hey, you know what, I was wrong about this movie.
opinions can get swayed, or something like Full Void. I was just kind of more open. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what.
See, I did like Full Void, but as a standalone game on a standalone cart, I wasn't too into that just because it is not that replayable. I mean, there's a couple of hidden things you could find that you could go back and play a second time to try and find everything, but it's going to be the same game every time you play it.
Yes, thank you, Crypto Coffee. Yeah, people are buying. Yeah, it does exactly. That's what I mean. It makes, and I appreciate that you say you have zero. It makes sense to be on a Super Pocket, and that's like that should have happened. That should have happened by now. because like Tetris is one of those games that appeals to all people on all ages and all levels, right? It's one of those rare. It's one of those rare things.
Well, I think nowadays that's
Except
not
you,
so
except
much
you.
true.
The only problem is like, what do you put with it?
It would just have to be Tetris, I think.
Yeah, because it's the Tetris company, right?
Yeah, the different
So-
version. Yeah, the different versions of Tetris.
I think it would just be either a Super Pocket that was just Tetris, or a cartridge that only had Tetris. Maybe it has multiple different versions of Tetris on it.
Yeah, I mean, you could get it like maybe a Gelco collection.
Honestly,
Like a
I-
Gelco Super Pocket, and then you get Tetris Plus on it.
I honestly, I think if there was going to be a Tetris Evercade, it would have to be a wholly unique version. I don't think it would be a previous version of Tetris.
It just depends.
Yeah.
But that's why I said that's like an example of when all that stuff went down. That would have sold more than any other like Super Pocket that they would have.
Personally, the version of Tetris I'd like to see would be the Atari arcade version of Tetris. That's my favorite version of Tetris.
That would have been cool too. But for that though, because they'd have to modify it, because you can't have like two. It takes up too much real estate.
It's fine the way it is. I mean, think about it. We're getting Twinkle Star sprites, and that's split the same way.
But on the VS, that's fine. But on the Super Pocket, that would be too tiny.
Yeah, but you could play it on the Super Pocket.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want. It kind of goes back to like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But I'm glad to see.
Well, I'm talking about a cartridge. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about don't make a Super Pocket with only that version of Tetris on it.
The way the Super Pocket's designed, it plays the games that are built and do it fairly okay. Like on the Taito one, of course, you have your exceptions.
Except for Operation Wolf.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of it's to get people into the Evercade ecosystem. That's that's really what it's designed. Exactly. Modern version plus yes. That's all you would need. That something like that would be like just as big as if they were to get Sega, because you would have people that have never heard of Evercade that would just buy the Super Pocket just for that, and maybe they get extra stuff and maybe they don't. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's all I have to say. But yeah, it's the next thing. We just need to hear like pre-orders opening for U.S. customers, and I hope there's a path for Canada and other parts of the world who are, if they're being affected or if not.
Yeah, I think everybody else is all right. I think it's actually just centered on the U.S. territories. And I get the finger on the pulse. I'll be keeping on that story, letting everybody know what the dealio is. But for now, if you want some bundle arenas, you can head on over to Funstock, because they're there.
No, I will not go there unless they're going to give me a non-PEGI version. They should, if they're shipping it to me and I'm paying extra, then I should be able to get the version of the cartridge, the version of the label that I want.
All right. Well.
All right. Let's go on. Let's go on this predictions for the last 2 or 3 carts of the year. Dang it!
There's going to be, because you got to get to 20, or you got to get to 10. There's going to be another blue card.
Of course.
And I'm going to say it's going to be Spectrum. And that's why they didn't announce it here. They're going to sneak it in really quick.
There you go. That's it. So there's going to be that. As far as, so there's already going to be 20 arcade carts, I think, by the end of the year already. So there won't have to be another one of those. And then now you have to start getting more red carts. They didn't announce a dual indie, so we'll probably get another one of those.
We need that.
We'll get a dual indie, and then either that or we'll get 2, and then that'll be it. But I don't think we get 2 again.
I think we get Namco. I think we get like a Namco arcade.
I think that might be too soon.
Maybe.
But honestly, if they did come out with a blue cart,
it goes over.
Yeah, if they did come out with another blue cart and they wanted me to be pleasantly surprised, it would be a C64 Accolade collection, because I don't think they'd be able to do Electronic Arts.
No. I don't know if we'll see any other blue cart. We might see one more blue cart, but I think the theme has been arcade. I think if we see red, it's going to be a dual indie. I think I think we need like a Jellicoe 2 or like an Irem 2, something like that. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Mike. I'm with you on that theory because I noticed the same thing on the website that there's more retro consoles that it was going to be announced for. They did that immediately, and there's no reason for it to, like, why would you just say you're going to make a Genesis cart? You know, that implies that there is a deal to be made. So yes, that's still to be taken into consideration. Oh, that would be wild.
Yeah.
That one would be wild.
If they started that and then they continued in the next year with like Taito, Konami, Namco, Neo, then hey, yeah.
So yeah.
What he means by that is like niche people in the UK gaming scene will love.
Yeah, I think he only knows what people in the UK would love. Maybe it's another soccer game.
Exactly.
It's another soccer.
Get on it.
No, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Oh, more single. Yeah, more single. Yeah, quality. That's the key. Quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh, that dude doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm sorry.
I don't know, man.
I thought you meant Sean from Blaze.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Sean from Blaze said that Sean from Blaze and Andrew from Blaze specifically said that the carts will be things that people may or may not have been asking for a while and that are unexpected.
That's
what we always say.
Yeah.
Hey, these new cards, they may or may not be something you've been wanting.
Yeah, that's true. It's a head. I'm not saying it was a good, it was like a very info-filled statement, but it
was a lot of words to say nothing.
Yeah,
dude, that would be a get. Yeah, I think we're not done with arcade because I think Blaze is starting to realize yes, arcade is popular. Like I forget, was it Genejoke or someone who said that like in Japan, like they only buy arcade. I'm like yes. I'm like, there's an obvious reason, an obvious kind of reason for that. Not only
why would the obvious reason be? I mean, I would think it's just as popular in Japan as it is here
because they don't care about the blue carts, which makes sense. Any of the other
makes sense. I mean, they had computers back then. It just wasn't the computers that they're putting out.
Yeah, but they have better computer anyway.
No, I wouldn't say the MSX was a better computer or the PC 98 or PC 90. Maybe back then at that time period, the PC 98, 99.
MSX like Castlevania and stuff,
Yeah, but I would rather play the NES version of Castlevania than the MSX version of Castlevania.
Of course. But no, but I mean like arcade, like yes, arcade is the reliable for like the red carts and I don't know how big indie is, but like for the red carts, like they could kind of more get like the real, if they wanted like the certain like NES titles, they could kind of more get like the real hardware and stuff for that. Like Famicom and Super Famicom are still really.
If they wanted to cater to Japan, they'd put out Famicom games, right? I mean,
maybe would that do well? I guess for the portability, maybe we'll see that. I would love for them to cater to Japan, and then if they do that, you could have both Japanese or English, or just keep it in Japanese as long as
we did get games that were only in Japan on the Famicom. I think like on the Interplay, the Titan. What was it? Titan X? Was it called Titan X or was it just called Titan? The one where you're bouncing the ball around. That was only a Japan only release
on Interplay.
Yeah, and on the Data East, what was the one where you were controlling the two cursors and you were roping together?
Yeah, Titan.
Yeah.
The Critters. I think that was a Japanese only release.
Yeah.
Libble Rabble.
Yeah. There's been some like of that kind of stuff on the earlier collections for sure. Yeah.
And actually some of those Namco, some of the games on those Namco collections, we were familiar with them, like Dig Dug, but Dig Dug was not released on the NES in the US. Dig Dug 2 was, but not Dig Dug.
But so here's what if I had to speculate, I think because we've seen the Japanese language, no coincidence that they show like the Neo Geo screenshot. I think we'll be able to go into the dip switches and get the Japanese version of those ROMs.
I would be surprised if they didn't let us do that, to be honest.
Exactly.
Because honestly, I wouldn't want to be forced to play the US version of Metal Slug, for example, or Samurai Showdown, because they had censored the blood in those versions.
Exactly. So I think we'll see that, and I think maybe we'll get to a point where Blaze won't be afraid that you can release a Japanese game that isn't translated, like something like Bad Dudes, right? You play the Japanese, that's a beat 'em up. You're still going to enjoy it. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We don't even really.
Honestly, there's. You know what's funny? It's like the whole language barrier thing is almost a non-issue at this point, because say even if it's an RPG and it's only got Japanese text, I mean it's a bit of a hassle, but I could play it by using Google Lens.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. I don't know. But sometimes the experience can get lost in translation. Like, how good is the quality? You know what I mean? That's kind of the other.
Again, even if a game has been translated, they're like Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 2, for example, is notorious. Well, when I say Final Fantasy 2, I'm really talking about Fantasy 4.
Yeah.
It's notorious for like lines like "You spoony bard," you know. So,
yeah, true.
And besides, I actually had somebody come to me to buy something, and I had no idea he didn't speak English until he showed up. And then when he did, he just pulled out his phone and translated.
That's awesome. But I think there's also more of a novelty, like an arcade game that you can play in your pocket. It's collectible. That's that's also the kind of, that's what, like, for me, there's an irony. And again, I could do in having C64 and Amiga games on physical media, because there were piracy. For PC games in general was rapid. Like it was even DOS, like it was more rare to actually own like a physical. We all traded games with each other and all that. That's like how Steam was born. So that I do chuckle a little bit inside when I kind of see that. I mean, I get it for collectability, and some people kind of want that, but yeah.
I'll disagree. I kind of lost me at some point, but okay.
I mean, yeah. I mean, tell me, like, if you like, you and your friend group, if like every single game, like people had like all the box, like growing up in like the 80s and 90s, or was it just like the digital like mainly like the digital version of the game? That's all. Like usually your favorite, like when CD-ROM games came out, that kind of forced to buy games again because you needed like the media capacity. Like some of those games would like fill up your whole hard drive. To go ahead and
are you
like
talking about like pirating off of BBSs?
Yeah, or just physical. It was like copying, like, hey man, here I've got a cracked version of the game. You want? Like it was very common to get like even like the light floppies with a bunch of DOS, a bunch of DOS games on it and whatnot. And people did that for C64. That's what I mean. Every computer thing was heavily. What's
funny is that I remember it was very rare now that I think about it, but for C64 we did have that 5 1/4 disk drive, but we did at the very end of like our C64 lifespan, we did get a 3.5 inch floppy drive for the Commodore 64, and it held so much more than a 5 1/4 disc.
Yes,
I was like, I would see how many games I could put onto one floppy.
Exactly. And like zip drives, and that's what I mean. It was kind of like part of the PC gaming culture. That's saying people like, of course, like we all like also bought like legit games, but there was like, hey, I got all these. You want to try? It was much part of the culture. But I get it though. Like you're again even more niche. Like your collector wants that physical copy of Amiga, and you want to support.
I'm just remembering now a game called Mail Order Monsters, and you could save your monster to another disc. And me and my friends, we would trade the discs and fight each other's monsters. What's really funny, though, is like you had a password that you had to access those monsters. But I remember stumbling upon, if you went and you read the directory of the disc, it had the name of the monsters and then some jumbled letters after it. But I can't remember what key combination it was. And you shifted it from like uppercase to lowercase. All of a sudden, those jumbled characters became readable, and those were the passwords for that person's monster.
See, there you go. But no, all good stuff. I think the rest of the year will be exciting. I think the big thing is that once Songbird starts to open up the floodgates for pre-orders, I think we're going to do well this year.
Am I going to be able to order off of Songbird the collections that I had ordered off of Video Games Plus? Because right now, if I go there, they're showing is sold out. Actually, the ones that I saw that were on there that I ordered,
yeah.
like the Neo Geo, the Neo Geo Super Pocket is marked as sold out.
It's been like that for like a month or two though. They haven't. Really, I think somebody said earlier, like within a week, then Sonnenberg will open. But that's the thing. Like they're not going like for a pre-order. They're not going to sell out. They can take as many orders as they. You know what I mean? It's not like there's like maybe there's some limit, but
You don't know. I mean, they might have a limited quantity that they know that they're getting. I mean, it's not like they're taking the pre-orders to see how many they need to order. I think they already have an allotment.
I mean,
that may be the case. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. But there are certain pre-orders where you can pre-order it, but they are still limited to a certain quantity.
Unless things have changed, usually you can pre-order like up until like a week before, and still get it without them running out. Unless that's changed, that's how it's been for the last 5 years. So
I mean, that's the excuse GameStop gives for pre-orders, so we know how many to order. But I know in some cases, I've heard stories where that doesn't work out.
I think they do. I think they have an idea data wise, but I think they rely on it. Yeah, I think we're at the 2-hour mark. This has been an awesome long show. I think this went like 30 minutes or an hour over the longer normal show because there was a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack. And if you all want to get caught up with things, I know Rich has been doing he's been like pumping out videos like every day.
Yeah, man. There was one this morning.
Yeah, which is and that's like initially how I found out about the whole thing and the costs and all and all that. I might have missed that in an email. So yeah, he's been up to date. Hopefully I can kind of get back up to date. I put out my delayed reaction video on Friday. The one thing I had to know the name of the carts, but there was no way of getting around that. I didn't know what was on them until I watched it, but I had to know the name of the carts. Not too big of a deal. I should be live tonight and next week. I may either do more deep dives or maybe, play a little bit of catch up on things. What do you got going on next week, Crow?
Well, there is a new table out on Zachary Pinball. I need to start getting on that. I need to make a video for that tomorrow. There's only one table this time. It was throwing me off. They didn't put an award table alongside it. What is it called? I think it's Magic Castle Deluxe. I'm every so often I'll whenever I'm modding this thing, I've been filming some stuff for that. So eventually, I have some other mods coming. I'm waiting to do another video once I get all the mods installed on it that either have coming. And it would have been just this box, but it doesn't have everything I ordered. They only ship the glass. So presumably I'll have a couple more things. But then I'll make another video on that. I still need to start playing and getting footage for Pinball Breeze. And then once all that's done, then I'll continue playing Tomb Raider. To be honest, I keep getting postponed because I go play one game on this thing and then it's like 2 hours later. So
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
What do you got going on, Mr. Bacon Ice Cream Productions?
Well, so we still have more Evercade related things coming out. With the advent of all of the updates and all that stuff, there's of course the hidden games. We're going to do some fun for fives on those, and the how to unlock and all that stuff. Alligator Hunt is a new highlight of the month. We'll talk about that probably next week on here, but I'll do a video on that. There's still more information that's been floating around in the ether post the anniversary special, so I'll probably do a wrap up on that. Then of course there's games that we've left behind on the Atari VCS, but you still got the Polymega stuff. 9 and 10 should be shipping at some point soon, plus the GC01. They teased the existence of the GC01, the light gun controller for the Polymega.
Ooh.
And that might mean that they're ready to ship, and if they are, well, I'm getting one. So
dude,
we'll talk about that too.
I am the most curious to be like, this captures the arcade experience, or no, this is like for the price, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can you play Duck Hunt? Can you have a good experience playing Duck Hunt with it?
Yeah.
Or like
we're in the thick of it. I guess it's summertime, so it's time to start locking down and doing more videos.
I don't know how much you know about this light gun. Does it have recoil action?
I don't think it does. I don't think it has recoil, which is
then
disappointing.
you're not getting the arcade experience.
Yeah, I would love it to have recoil, but I do know it has it's a send-in. It's a send-in.
Yeah. Well, you're getting the home like Duck Hunt and stuff. You could probably modify. and I flashed this up before. Yeah, me and Rich got to get back into that.
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
now that I'm
we're
back to my undisclosed location, I think Rich
Alex-
might be done with his undisclosed locations for a while. So we
Yes.
might-
Yeah. So Alex, Luna, Ramus, and Null are staring at me every day, and they were like, "Hey, you're gonna play this or what?" So yes, we should get there. We should get that too. But yeah, I mean, more stuff, man. Just come on over and hang out because it's great.
Who's John? Remember who John name seems very familiar. I feel like I should know who John Tesh
John
is.
Tesh? Are you talking about the guy that was the host of Entertainment Tonight?
Oh, is that guy? Is it that guy?
I thought it was.
Well, that's only John, and it's not. I didn't think his name was spelled Tesh. I thought it was John Tess with Tess. Maybe this is somebody different that he's talking about.
That name seems familiar.
It's probably somebody different because he would have nothing to do with whatever he's talking about.
making news jingles.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be John Tesh. Yeah, maybe he is talking about John Tesh. Maybe it is John Tesh and not John Tess. Maybe.
There you go.
Oh, dude, yes.
Yeah.
Saturn Lightning games. Yes, that because
Mhm.
that never had recall. Yeah, that would be. Yeah,
Yep.
that 100%. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So there you go.
Cool. Well, thanks
Yeah,
everyone.
he's right. It is John Tesh, the host of Entertainment Tonight,
Nice.
Yeah, he was just joking. I thought it was something
among other things. Among other things.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll go ahead and call it here. Thanks everyone else for watching our extended show. We appreciate it. Check out all of our channels and all our awesome things. Look for all our awesome stuff that we're having, and I'll see you all later tonight streaming. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thanks, Crashline, Immortal Sojourn, Amber Cummings, Joe Whitlash, Alex Groot.